I will not show my independence, and I will not be making my own decisions.
In 2009, a bipartisan Congress created the Center for Tobacco Products at the FDA, and then the president signed this into law. And no, the fact that Congress and the president agreed on something is not what was historic. It was that for the first time ever, FDA, since the time we were established in 1906, we're really the gold standard agency to make sure that every product you put on or in your body is safe and effective.
Bullshit. The FDA is expanding a recall of a popular blood pressure drug over concern it may contain an unwanted ingredient that can cause cancer.
Tonight, for people on medication to treat high blood pressure, the Food and Drug Administration is recalling several drugs that contain an ingredient, valsartan. That drug includes an agent that could cause cancer.
Pfizer recalls its popular anti-smoking drug Chantix over a possible cancer risk.
The recall was secondary to some unknown quantities of a chemical called NMDA. We do know that it can cause direct liver injury.
Now to the Food and Drug Administration and to questions of regulation. The salmonella outbreak and the major egg recall have raised questions once again about whether an agency charged with regulating drugs and food can adequately do its job.
I can share that, at least from where FDA's perspective is, we would prefer to not have kids on the continuum of risk, if at all possible. But we recognize that's not possible because kids are kids, and there's many, many, many reasons why they choose to do different types of things. If we get asked a specific question by a teen, either a direct message to us or via social media about the relative harms of vaping versus cigarettes, we try to be as clear as possible that if your comparator is a cigarette, vaping is less harmful. As kids are incredibly smart. I'm sure both of these gentlemen, I'm sure, see that, and they have a crap detector a mile wide. We have not tried to tackle that directly in any of our proactive messaging, but when we get questions specifically in social or direct message, that's when we have that one-on-one dialogue.
The FDA today calling it a dangerous epidemic.
The FDA calls teen vaping an epidemic.
Vaping is not as harmful as smoking.
You suck!
Hello and welcome, all of my friends. How the hell are you doing tonight? Anyway, I'm sorry that we were a few minutes late. I did have a grim toilet symptom just prior to going live, and it took me a moment. Anyway, we're here, and everything's hunky-dory. And we have a lot. If you look at the show notes tonight, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Kevin is going to freak out. But speaking of freaking out and Kevin, here, let's bring Kevin in. Whew. Yeah, see, Kevin had one of those grim symptoms as well.
Oof. There, I'm better.
You ever have one of those moments where you think you're done? You think you're done, and then you get up and you do your business, and then just about the time you start to pull your pants up, then you realize, oh shit, I wasn't done.
It's all because of vaping, It's the only thing I can think of.
We'll get into some of that here in a minute.
Somebody said for you to be nice to me, by the way, and I want to make sure I wanted to point that out. Dale said be fucking nice to me for a change and don't be fucking around. Hi guys,
I totally appreciate Dale's point of view. but it's not going to happen.
Do you?
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
No. So how the hell was your week, Kev?
Oh, everything's fine. Speaking of toilets, everything's fine.
Well,
want to make sure.
I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you that I may or may not be here next Saturday.
May or may
Wednesday,
not Saturday?
Wednesday, next Friday, I will be having a procedure on my knee.
Yeah.
They finally decided to look at the MRI, and I had a doctor's appointment, and he says, "Oh, you have a complex tear of the posterior horn of your meniscus."
That's because you were taking such a deep shit that you pulled it.
We're going to have to go in there and remove about 30% of the cartilage that's in your knee. So I will. This is not nearly as bad as an ACL reconstruction, like the last time. So he says I'll be walking the day of the surgery, but we'll see. We'll see.
I say we just take next Friday off and just forewarn everybody we won't be here. That's easier.
You know, you might want to see me hopped up on pain meds. You never know. No. If the last procedure is any indication of what they're going to give me for pain, the last time they just gave me Tylenol 3, and that really didn't do anything for me. So I don't imagine.
I don't like you normally. I don't want to not like you on drugs.
Well, it just depends on if there's anything to talk about, and what I feel like. So we'll play it by ear. I don't want to disappoint our few friends that we actually have.
And by the way, let's commend them highly for us being late, and y'all just kept right on rocking.
Right? Kevin's like, they're just taking over the chat. We don't even need to go on live. They're already.
That's why I love all of you, every friggin' one of you. We need a current opioid lesson. Anyway, Peggy says.
I need some lessons on drugs.
Well,
that was the funny thing is I went this morning. I had to go to the hospital and they took blood and they did an EKG. And I went in and I handed the girl my paperwork and she said, "Oh, well, here's another. You have to fill out this fucking paperwork in every department. This is a list of you need to check off anything that's wrong with you and any meds you take." And I'm like, I don't take any meds, so I don't have any diabetes or heart condition or any. And she looks at me. She's like, "You're not diabetic?" "No." You don't have No. You don't have No. And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Really?" And she says, "Well, are you taking any of these 3 weight loss medicines? These are injected monthly medicines." I'm like, "No." "Do I look like I need to take weight loss shots?" And she's,
how did you get to weight loss? What does that got to do with it?
Because apparently the medicine affects your blood in some way that.
See, this is the problem with professionals. What drugs are you on? You don't need to discuss with me why I'm on them, right? Yeah. You want to list?
Well, these 3
get the fucking list and shut up.
These 3 injections are quite bad. If you have surgery, you could have a heart attack and die or something. She said, "Are you allergic to anything?" I said, "Benadryl." And she goes, "Really? Benadryl?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, what kind of reaction did you have?" And I said, "I died." And she goes, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I had a seizure and died. They had to revive me." And she goes, "What? For Benadryl?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Like Janice with neoproxen or naproxen or whatever the fuck it is in Aleve. What's your reaction? Well, she fell on the fucking floor and almost died.
I was in the third grade. Yeah. I
you overdosed on it? Yeah.
In the 3rd grade, I had chicken pox and they gave me Benadryl and I died.
Ain't that fucking fun?
And then they had to defibrillate me and start my heart again.
No, they didn't defibrillate her.
Yeah, they hit me with.
They didn't do that. They Naxaloned her ass though.
And the doctor's like, never ever. They didn't have that when I was in the 3rd grade. Never ever take this medication again. So my wife, if she gets a rash, she uses Benadryl like lotion or whatever. And she's like, "Ooh, don't lick
That's
my
right.
arm. And I'm like,
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to lick your arm. Okay.
Don't piss me off because in your sleep, you're going to.
Oh, no, she's a nurse. If she's going to kill me, there's tons of ways that she can do that. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, they looked at my past medical procedure. I have had 4 knee surgeries on the left knee.
Mm-hmm.
The right knee has been 100, has been awesome. And then it decided this time, James is like, been there, done that, not much cartilage in my left knee, left now in my right knee. Yeah, I have no cartilage in my left knee, and I've had 7 different ligaments rebuilt in 4 different procedures on the left knee. So the right knee has been awesome. It's part of the aged infirm is what it is, Kev. Now, I didn't even, I didn't even know that there was such a thing as a Beetlejuice musical, Kev. I did not know that was even a thing. But so I'm gonna preface this by saying, oh, it changed. Never mind. The ad banner for was a Smith & Wesson ammunition advertisement, and it just changed to a Paramount. I was like, oh, they definitely know their target audience.
That's right.
But now it's NFL with Sunday Ticket. Let's see if it changes between now and the time we get done with this. So this Lauren Boebert is kicked out of Beetlejuice for vaping and singing and causing a disturbance, says report. Now,
isn't this the one that you have on one of your opening or closings that's going?
No.
That's not her.
That chick is that chick ran. The one I'm talking about, or the one that you're talking about, ran against Ocasio-Cortez. Let me this one. You're talking about this lady here.
Hey, Kamala, heels in the air, Harris. What do you think, you were a tough girl?
I thought it was It's Not Fair. It's Not Fair or something.
No, that's Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, okay. No, that's who I was thinking of.
Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert is she's a Trumper. She's one of Trump's protege. She's one of the people that he actively campaigned for. So yeah, she's a little bit of already a kind of a weirdo, but anyway, it says here Republican lawmaker. Well, I can name a few, but yeah, she's a wackadoo. This one is definitely a wackadoo. But anyway, Republican lawmaker escorted out of after multiple complaints about her behavior, state's incident report. Now, before I go on, I'm not a musical theater kind of guy. Yeah. I have seen a few different things, I have seen was it the Phantom of the Opera? I went to see the Phantom of the Opera when it was popular back in the college days, mainly because the girl that I was seeing in college at the time was like that sort of thing. But I seem to remember people singing along during the show. I could be. I mean, usually, maybe not boisterously and making a lot of noise, but I would assume, like, when I go to a concert, I'm, especially if it's a band that I'm really into, if it was Waylon Jennings come back from the grave, I'm going to be singing along with Waylon during the show. Now, it is what it is, but anyway, it says here, and there's some video here in the background, but I actually have a different source for some video. But anyway, Lauren Boebert was escorted out of a Colorado theater's performance of Beetlejuice. I didn't really realize, for allegedly vaping, singing, and taking pictures and causing a disturbance. So they make sure to include the vaping.
The guy next to her is click.
First, the right wing congresswoman and a companion were asked to leave Denver's Buell Theater during a performance of the touring Broadway show on Sunday night. The Republican lawmaker, who was not named in an incident report, was warned about her behavior during an intermission after 3 complaints were made, and she was eventually asked to leave. Her campaign office confirmed the incident to the newspaper while disagreeing with the details of the lawmaker's behavior. Drew Sexton, her campaign manager, told the Post that the woman denied vaping, but did use her phone to take pictures of the performance. I was always told no flash photography. I can confirm the stunning and salacious rumors in her personal time. Lauren Boebert is indeed a supporter of the performing arts, and to the dismay of a few enthusiastically enjoyed the weekend performance of Beetlejuice. Apparently only half of it, because she got kicked out after the intermission. He also noted the paper's own review of the show had described it as zany, outrageous, and a lusty riot. He added that the politician urged people to see the show, which he lauded for a fantastic cast, tremendous visuals, and plenty of loud laughs, with a general reminder to leave their phones outside the venue. So apparently there's other stories that say that she was one of the people that was complaining was a pregnant woman who was right behind her. And that, there's been people on the interwebs saying that vaping could kill an unborn fetus if you vape around a pregnant woman, which is total BS. But the situation is that she was acting poorly about it. And from what I've seen over the years, I would believe that she is the type of person because some of the rumors are saying that she said, well, you know who I am, and stuff like that, and that's not cool. That's using your position of authority to excuse bad behavior. But I did find Kyle Clark on the Twitters has some decent video here of this situation. So let's check this out. Make sure I got my sound turned on. All right, let's look at this.
Boebert. Say it 3 times and she appears in security video from a weekend performance of Beetlejuice. The congresswoman was kicked out of the theater for being disruptive. The DCPA says she was vaping. Boebert's team denied that, said the haze was from fog machines in the show.
There's her little. It's right there. She obviously she could learn how to stealth, but I mean, if you look right there, she puts her hand to her mouth. Yeah. Takes a drag, and then if we move it forward slowly, there it comes right there. So I don't think she has a leg to stand on the fog machine thing. She's a human fog. Let's keep
Flame
going.
goes up in smoke when you see the video. The pregnant woman sitting behind Boebert.
Now, I want to move this back. Let's just. I can't tell. She could be a fat woman or she could be a pregnant woman.
The pregnant woman sitting behind Boebert told the Denver Post she asked her to stop vaping, and Boebert refused. Her one-woman show continued, taking flash photos,
selfies,
raising her hands and dancing, often the only one clapping or standing up in the crowd. Boebert occasionally took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned and told Boebert she had to leave. The theater's incident report says Boebert pulled the don't.
Now, if you have children watching at this moment, this is the time to cover their eyes because they're going to see a politician acting very rudely.
Politician-like.
You know who I am card on the way out, giving theater employees.
She just she gave them the one finger salute right there.
She's rating the show.
Yeah, you're number one.
Major news. Why is this major news?
The single finger salute.
Well, again,
I know.
Again, I mean, I'm not excusing. I mean, there's definitely no excuse for being that rude. And if you're one of us, if you're a vapor, you don't want people to, act
Well,
badly.
Steve also had a question earlier. Vaping what? Doesn't say. You don't know.
Don't know.
Okay.
I mean, but again, it doesn't matter what she's vaping. You can't excuse bad behavior.
Well, no.
I know plenty of potheads that are not assholes.
You think she'd have had to poop more?
Well, we'll talk about that later. That's on the agenda. But, between you and Addie trying to jump ahead, between you and Addie there's an order. It's all you have the links.
Sherman.
Just stick to the script.
It's right there. Don't feel it in the ear.
You got everything, right in front of you, Kev. All you have to do is just look. She should have just went and vooped.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. She could have put her Bluetooth in and turned the microphone on and just went to Voop and could have heard the show while she was vooping.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. Well, I'm sure there's an app that turns your phone into a microphone.
Well, imagine.
They have an app for everything, Kev.
Oh.
They have an app for everything. But in other news, did you know that vaping may cause an increase in your risk of cancer, Kev?
Again? Which kind?
In opposition to all of the other science that we have, this one here, but here, let's just, this one, I think this is the one. We'll get, I'll pause it.
It's only been about 15 years since e-cigarettes or vape hit the market. It's extremely popular among young people, with some surveys showing that more than 3 million middle and high school students vaped last year alone.
Now, what was that number last week, Kevin? 2.5. It was two different numbers, right? The same video, the two women. One of them said 2.5 and the other one said 3. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, e-cigarettes contain nicotine. They have been linked to lung and cardiovascular disease. But now Ursula shows us.
You see what they did there? They applied a correlation by just using the word link. It has been linked.
Yeah.
And cardiovascular disease. But now Perry shows us how vaping could also increase your risk for cancer.
E-cigarettes,
E-cigarettes, Kevin.
Jules, they go by many names, but no matter what you call them, these vices are very popular. In fact, it's estimated that 1 in 10 people under 18 vapes, and a quarter of those young people vape every day.
So 1 in 10. That's 10% now. Yeah. Now,
It's
I
only
have
been
numbers,
around
people. I know
15 years.
Mallory has a number. I know that she does. She I'm sure. I'm sure she's saying that 10% of all children age 1 to 18.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Let's scroll back. Let's see. They had it on 1 in 10 under 18 vapes. So they're including all the infants, that's all children under 18 is what they're saying.
Quarter of those young people vape every day. It's been known to cause a host of complications, including lung and heart disease. But new research suggests that vaping can increase your risk of oral cancer as well.
After exposure to e-cigarette vape, and that was independent of nicotine or nicotine content, a lot of the bacteria, the good bacteria, die.
Which can lead to tooth decay and gum disease. Angel's research focuses on a particular bacteria that is found in the skin that can cause illness or death if it gets in the bloodstream. Usually when someone has a healthy immune system, it kills that bacteria. But this research suggests that vaping compromises that response, allowing the bacteria to grow.
Now, to be fair,
yeah,
just using some layman information, we know that PG does indeed create a situation where bacteria is encapsulated, microbes are encapsulated in a bubble, and it prevents them from oxidize, from actually breathing, and they die, right? So, I mean, in essence, yes. I mean, good bacteria, is going to die as well as bad bacteria, but their idea that causes cancer, it has no scientific basis whatsoever.
Hopefully, with some of the recent research that we have published and others, overall, it will lead to more awareness, and hopefully it will change some of the policy making.
And that can lead to healthier smiles. Some studies, though, suggest that...
You know what does work to keep your smiles good?
What?
Yep. Brushing your fucking teeth. Just saying.
Using toilet water.
Do you think that the alcohol in mouthwash is not going to kill the good bacteria as well? Is it selective in its murder spree in your mouth when you gargle and you swish and spit? Or I know some people actually swallow, but anyway, you think that so are they telling people not to use scope or Listerine anymore?
It's only been 15 years, Patrick. We just don't know enough.
I mean, these are, I don't require to do a study to know that, all mouthwashes kill good and bad bacteria in your mouth. The good thing is your body does regenerate those microbes and stuff really fast.
That the aerosol that is produced by the vape pen can cause changes to cells in just a matter of months. As well, they say that many of the chemicals that are found in that aerosol from the vape pen are cancer-causing. Things like formaldehyde, heavy metals, and other materials that can get lodged in the deepest part of your lungs. If you are a parent or guardian and you have a child who is interested in beginning to vape or is already vaping, it's probably time to have a talk, so at least they know the risk.
Patrick.
So, what?
How deep do I have to inhale to get it into the deepest part of my lungs? Because I want it to go all the way to the very edge where it's like wiggling its hand to my liver. And then we'll see about that.
I mean, I do know that my lung capacity. I do know that my lung capacity is much bigger now that I'm not smoking, and that the bottom half of my lung is no longer full of phlegm. So a nice deep breath fills up the whole thing, Kev.
This is a
Oh no, San Antonio is like the San Francisco of Texas. Well, actually, no, Austin is the San Francisco of Texas, but I mean, it's turned into a shithole now. So now they're moving into San Antonio. San Antonio was a bastion of common sense, but it's fallen prey to stupidity. So yeah, I see what you're saying, Steve, but yeah, I mean, I can't really help stupid. I just can't do it. It's one of those things. But I did want to. So this week, Kev, I reached out on Twitter to some of our Twitter friends that are in the tobacco harm reduction game. And, I reached out on Twitter. I will show you the tweet here. Or it's not really. I'm falling into the fucking hole there, Kev. We know it's not called Twitter anymore. But anyway, he said, I need a little help from my snooze users. Where do you get them? The only place that I have here locally is one convenience store, and they only stock like 3, the general snus. Because I mean, there are other snus available in the United States. Camel, I think, has one, and there's a handful. There's not many. But I was specifically reaching out to the group that I know that are in my sphere that actually get them from other places. But I did, I did have I did want to say, for all the, Dale, actually, the one that told me to be nice to you. All these people decided to help me out. Now, Hunky shows me these juice head nicotine pouches. These are not snus, by the way. These are nicotine
I think
pouches.
AJ Mole would.
The packaging looks similar, but
yeah.
But yeah, AJ. People help me out. AJ Mall didn't. I haven't seen him in a long time. Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still around.
I haven't seen him in a while. But yeah, I did want to thank my friends on the Twitter, the ones that did respond. I did find a place, and they will be arriving Monday. But did you know that they have a tobacco? They have a tobacco Scotch whiskey snus. 2 different ones.
Well, then you might as well have, right?
Oh yeah,
you did, didn't you?
I did. Well, it's like $30 for shipping from Sweden to us, so you have to make it worth your while. So you order, enough that it makes it not stupid. But so next week, if we do the show because of my knee surgery, we will be able to discuss those options for the people in the chat room that are interested in trying another nicotine delivery system. I like to be as helpful to everyone as possible. Yeah. Mob Tech is we're going to talk about it depends in a bit. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Everybody, there's an order of operation that we're following here, and
but we could have a record crowd. This is important to some people.
Well, that's why we're doing it after the halfway mark.
I'm surprised Ed's not already in here.
That's the lead for the second half of the show. You gotta do things right, Kev. Really.
Let's move on at a good click, then, sir.
Yeah. So. Here, speaking of, there's another story here about the cancer thing, Kev. So let's just
regurgitation.
Let's see how exactly similar this one is to the last one.
In today's HealthWatch, vaping was sold as a safer option to smoking cigarettes, but
vaping was sold as a safer option to. Now, was that not the exact same first line of the last story that we just showed you?
I'm pretty near sure.
Their habit has been linked to heart and lung.
Feldman tells us about new research that shows this troubling link. Since its debut in the U.S. marketplace in 2007, e-cigarettes for vaping has become increasingly
e-cigarettes. So she even put the emphasis on the same exact syllable that the lady in the last video did.
Popular, especially among young people. According to the National Youth Tobacco Survey, more than 3 million middle and high school students vaped in 2022. E-cigarettes contain nicotine and have been linked to lung and cardiovascular diseases. Now, a UCF researcher has discovered that vaping also increase your risk for cancer.
Oh shit. That's the same stock footage. Oh my God.
E-cigarettes, vapes, jewels.
That's the same redneck with the.
Yes.
They go by many names, but these
actually, I shouldn't say anything. I have that same device.
Devices have increased in popularity among young people. 1 in 10 people under 18.
Oh shit! The same graphics, Kevin.
Wow.
Vapes.
Neat.
And a quarter of those young people vape daily. It's been known to cause a host of complications, including lung and heart disease. But new research suggests that
oh shit! It's the same scientist. The same. Oh my God.
Vaping can increase your risk for oral cancer as well.
After exposure to e-cigarette vape, and that was independent of nicotine or nicotine content, a lot of the bacteria, the good bacteria, die.
Which can lead to tooth decay and gum disease.
Oh, now do you see, boys and girls? Do you see the propaganda machine at work? These again.
Yes, Raj.
Now I'm going to minimize this because I want to make sure. Does this say anywhere on here that this was a paid promotion? No. Look at that.
No.
FCC says
Where
that these are required to be listed as paid.
It's all in
promotion.
It's on the wording, Patrick. It's all in the wording.
Yeah.
It's to whose standards you're asking about. That's all. Yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
It's the same thing, boys and girls. So
Sinclair. It's a threat to our democracy. It's a threat to our democracy. You have to have the script correct across the country. That's all.
Well, they stuck to. I mean, they stuck to the script. As soon as I heard they've
been doing it for fucking 15 years.
But being able to spot these trends, being able to show you week after week the same video clips, repeated. Now the one last week actually wasn't as bad as the one that we covered months ago that had 16 different replications of the same video. Yeah. This one is only we found 2 last week, and by the way, there will be one tonight as well. That is the same stock footage. This one is a completely different.
That's where you're pointing that finger.
That's why I'm pointing that way. I'm not doing this, Kevin. This is your trademarked move.
That's
I can't
right.
do this.
That's right.
That's all for the Kevin. That's all Kevin's. I don't want people saying that I'm stealing from Kevin. But so you remember a while back, a bunch of attorney generals, they wrote a nasty letter to the FDA and all that. Remember?
Oh, the incompetent ones? Yes, I do. 33, so I believe. Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Arizona, the Arizona AG, he's joining the other Nimrods. And calling for a crackdown. It was a slow news day, and he didn't have anything to report for a press release because these guys like to put out daily updates of what they're doing. So, let's see. Let's see if we listen to the AI, if we can hear the AI breathe, because this is what creeps me out, Kev. Now, last time I did this, it didn't load, and it took forever.
Bronchite News, Phoenix. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays and 32 other attorneys general from around the country signed a letter outlining recommendations to cut down on youth vaping numbers. Federal data shows millions of teens regularly use electronic cigarettes, especially flavored products. In the August 29th letter, the official suggested that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration take several actions against the e-cigarette industry to make vaping less appealing to young people. Even though the legal age to purchase is 21 in the U.S., use of tobacco products by youth remains a consistent problem.
So so they highlight right there the problem. Even though the legal age to purchase is 21 in the U.S., use of tobacco products by youth remains a consistent problem.
It's all in the wording, and nobody listens and pays attention.
Well, I mean, any moron could see that we've made it illegal. So why aren't they fucking doing their job?
Of course, I've seen it.
I mean, I know you're from Ohio, but I think you can even.
I'm a moron. I don't care.
There's no big words. There's no big words in here. I mean, consistent. I mean, that's not a huge.
No more than 3 or 4 syllables. I get a little constipated when I get about the 4th or 5th syllable. I don't like that.
This word down here, devastating, is like 4 syllables.
Right. That's pushing me.
Yeah.
And the hyphens piss me off.
Devastating effects of nicotine addiction are well documented, and it is critical the FDA enact changes to protect children and teens from e-cigarettes, Mace said in a statement on August 30th. We're seeing an alarming resurgence in nicotine use for young adults, from restrictions on marketing that targets.
There is no marketing.
What?
I didn't say anything.
Prohibiting flavors designed to entice teens to use e-cigarettes in the first place. More guardrails are needed to prevent tobacco use and addiction among young people in our country.
Now, I blame Scott Geller. Was that his name? No. Yeah, Gottlieb.
Might as well
Scott
be.
Gottlieb for this for this guardrails and the road metaphors. Because he's the one that said we need to block the on ramp blah, blah, blah for kids. I mean, these guys are not even creative enough to come up with their own metaphors. They have to steal from an idiot that unquestionably scammed the FDA for a thing for his resume so that he could get a much higher paying gig at a drug company.
Absolutely.
The recommended actions include banning all non-tobacco flavors of e-cigarettes, imposing limits on nicotine concentration, cracking down on disposable e-cigarettes, and also enacting stricter regulations on how e-cigarettes are marketed toward youth.
So again, banning all non-tobacco flavors. So these, no matter how many times we get on social media and we say that old people like things that taste good too. I mean, and these, like remember the mugging last week, the British news chick mugging the British vaping advocate guy that I can't remember his name. He pointed out examples of, hey, they've got flavored alcohol. That doesn't exist. That's not real.
Ice cream, Starbucks.
Yeah. I mean, I got video of Nancy Pelosi showing her very expensive Sub-Zero freezer full of Italian. It's not ice cream. What's it called? It's expensive ice cream.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Gelato. She had gelato.
Winch.
Yeah. That's flavored. And she's like 100 years old, so she's definitely not a minor.
Fuck.
So, I think that's proof positive that old people like things that taste good.
E-cigarettes are also known as electronic nicotine delivery systems, ENDS. Youth ends use remains troublingly high, fueled largely by the widespread use of flavored disposable ends, the letter states. Last year, 14.1% of high school students.
So I don't understand this whole logic thing, Kev. So if they banned flavors in pod systems, right? That was the thing.
Yeah.
All right. So
that'll help.
Then the companies responded by coming out with flavored, massive quantities of different flavored disposables. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in China wanted to come out with a new bar or whatever. They're all something bar, Elf bar, whatever bar. What makes them think that they're not going to come out with another way?
Oh my God.
For folks to produce these products, either since flavors are banned in pods and flavors are banned in disposables, which are sealed units. So all they're going to do is come out with I'm telling you, they're going to figure a way to make a refillable, disposable, a rechargeable, refillable, all-in-one unit, right? Yeah. That doesn't need. They're going to figure this out. That doesn't need some sort of reusable cotton wick. They're going to come out with something. I promise you. These people are going to figure something out. That these are good for. I don't know what there would have to be a length of time that it's good for, or people wouldn't buy another one, right? So they won't be disposable. They'll be refillable, and you'll have to buy e-liquid to refill them. And then they'll go after all, the e-liquid people that are already actually illegal. So, yeah.
Students and 3.3% of middle school students reported current ends use. Over 2.2 million of these students used fruit, candy, or dessert flavored ends.
Okay, so they're saying now the estimate is, Kev, they're saying 2.2 million of these kids, they're using fruit, candy, dessert flavors.
Mm-hmm.
How many adults are there that vape in the United States, according to any logical estimation? Somewhere between 9 and 11 million.
Let's say 10. Let's just go.
That's right. Okay, so if there are 10 million adults that use flavored products, say 9,200,000, because there's got to be about 800,000 of people like us that actually like tobacco flavors.
I'm gonna find a tweet that Vlad helped me with Dr. F's survey,
I mean, I know that we are, because Kevin and I both enjoy tobacco flavors. I do have some flavored product here somewhere. Oh, well, yeah. Grandmaster by our friends is a flavored product. I can't even remember. I think this is peanut butter, I think. I don't remember. I don't know how bad it is that I guess I could smell it. Anybody remember what Grandmaster is? Yeah, it's the peanut butters. So, I mean, yeah, we like things that taste good. And I I just ordered a whole bunch of snooze that are tobacco flavored. So,
69,233 vapors took that flavor poll /study / Dr. Farsalinos did in 2015, 16, 17. I don't remember. So Vlad the Vapor, little rodent mouse, he extrapolated 69,233 was at that time. Those are the people that took the survey, and I can't see the screen with you. Those are that took the survey is 5.6 million people. Extrapolated, folks. That's what they do with these 2.5 million kids.
Yeah,
they've got 20,000 kids, and they extrapolate it to 2.5 million. Now, nobody understands that, and nobody admits that.
Bastard in the chat room.
Oh, bastard!
He asked the same question that I asked last week. So when you were a kid 100 years ago, like 50% of kids smoked, and 50 years ago they only had tobacco flavors.
That's correct.
What do you think that flavors played a role in them smoking cigarettes?
No, only the additives, whatever those were, or at the time. I don't know.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously, but I'm talking about like, I mean, obviously, yes, Camel did come out with some flavored cigarettes in like the mid '90s, and that did happen, and they were okay. Some of them, at least, were okay. I enjoyed there was one that was an orange tobacco that was quite good, but I was already smoking by that time. Right. Ooh, holy shit! It's raining in South Texas. That's a miracle. I think. We've been on water restrictions here for like 5 years. Like I can only water my yard 1 day a week.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm one of those crazy yard people, dude. My yard has to be pretty. So, yeah. I don't really, in my opinion, I mean, when smoking was significantly higher, flavors didn't play a key part in those people becoming smokers. Those kids that were smoking when I was a kid weren't doing it because when I started smoking, there was no flavored cigarettes. So I think this is if the right person were able to build a science-based group of people to go out and argue this, I think we could win this. I mean, we could at least make the point. I don't think we could ever win.
Nearly 1.4 million used disposable products. The 2022 National Youth Tobacco Survey.
Okay. So they're saying that there's 2.2 million of these people. So that we know the number somewhere between 2.5 and 3, right?
Well,
and they're only saying, I'm just saying, only half of the people, if we use their original 300,000 or 3 million people between ages 1 and 18. So only half of them are using disposable products.
Yeah.
So that seems kind of above. Let's keep going.
Survey released in November reported that over 3 million middle school and high school students use tobacco product, with 2.5 million of those using e-cigarettes, over 1 in 4 on a daily basis. According to the survey, which is conducted annually by the FDA and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, most of the e-cigarettes used are disposables. Disposable e-cigarettes are only intended to be used one time before throwing them out, according to the National Tobacco Education Resource Library.
What? So disposables are only good for one puff?
Well, no. Last I heard, it was.
I saw some that said 6,000 puffs. Now they're saying they can only be used once.
Cigarettes.
They can only be used once, Kevin.
Oh.
Meredith Berkman, co-founder of Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarettes, praised the letter by the state-level officials. We were surprised and we were delighted to see that there was a bipartisan multi-AG letter going to FDA. I think that that's really important, Berkman said.
Now, Kevin.
What?
You've been around. You've been around a minute, right? In your time as a person that's paying attention to this topic.
You surprised me with her dumbass. Go ahead. Yes, I have.
Now, how many times has some prominent group of politicians written letters to the FDA in the time that you've been around?
How often? 50 times.
I mean, what's the guy that used to be the chairman of the Homeland Security? What was that guy's name? From like Rhode Island or whatever. He was an AG. He was Tom something. Demanded that the FDA appear in front of his committee to answer questions. And come on now, you remember
the one we liked?
Yeah.
Shit, I'd have to look at it.
Yeah, but he wrote like 18 letters to the FDA. Come in front of my committee to answer questions. He's up there where Heartland was, where the
Tom
Johnson Vape. Remember them?
Yep.
Yeah,
Johnson Creek.
They were. Yeah, he was their representative. We raised money for his scrawny ass to get reelected, and when he did get reelected, he thanked us for participating in his campaign.
Oh no, that's not who I'm thinking of. I thought you were talking about the AG. Oh shit, I can't remember his name.
Damn, he's getting old, and I'm getting old.
One of you people know.
Well, some of these people in the chat. No, it wasn't Tom Kelly.
No. I don't think it was Tom.
Oh, it was Johnson. Now I have to go look.
No, you have to look. I can't remember. I know I can see his face. I just can't remember. And he barely got reelected, right?
Yeah, I mean it was a big deal.
Ron Johnson. I think
yes, that's the guy.
I think
that's pretty sure that it was Ron Johnson. I mean, let me double check. I knew it was a simple name like John or Tom.
I think Eddie's right. I'm pretty sure he's right.
Yeah. Senator Ron Johnson. That was the guy. You know, when they were driving that damn expensive van around wasting money. I'm sorry, boys and girls.
It's all right. We're not here to make friends.
Twice.
Times 2.
Our advocacy is about ending sales of all flavored tobacco products to protect kids. Adults may want flavors, but we have incontrovertible evidence that millions of kids have become initiated into the use of these products.
At least she's willing to admit that adults may want flavors for once.
Well, yeah.
I mean, their whole shtick has always been that grown-ups don't need that.
And many of them addicted to nicotine from these products because of the flavors. She added. The letter was prompted by the FDA's request for comment on its proposed 5-year strategic plan for the Center for Tobacco Products. The comment period ended in August.
Next article.
No, we're not doing the next article. But yeah, I mean, clearly letters written to the FDA don't really go anywhere, Kev.
Clearly. This is my take, folks. Oh, Ed, we haven't passed out the free packet of pens yet, so don't get all excited. Stunning news, a coalition of 33 attorney generals in 33 states are
stunning and brave.
What?
Stunning and brave.
They are admitting they have been outsmarted by brainworm-riddled children under 21, evidently, and are both incompetent and unqualified to uphold various existing laws in 33 states to protect the children. Trademark.
It's all about the children, Kevin.
Well, it's a thing.
Hey, but this is for those of you that are worried about ammo, because we always need to have ammunition to continue our battles. We did get a little bit of a bullet to use this week here. It says here that e-cigarettes and Varenicline and cytisine are the most effective stop e-cigarettes. Why did they put a colon there? See that? So what does it say here? A new comprehensive study reveals that nicotine e-cigarettes, Varenicline, and a nicotine receptor partial agonist, I should say, and cytisine are the stop smoking aids that most likely to help people quit smoking. Despite the attributed success that cytisine is a highly effective smoking cessation medicine, the medicine is unavailable in most countries, including the UK. It is also noteworthy that many countries also have a supply issue with Varenicline. Now, again, the availability of successful things, Kevin, we have submitted evidence and proof to all of our friends that the patch does work. The patch can be successful. However, not the patch that is readily available in the United States, because that one has to have half as much nicotine as what the science that shows that it can be successful.
Well,
all those studies say more nicotine is better at helping people quit.
They don't want anybody hurting themselves. That's all.
Yeah,
they care.
Yeah. So cytisine, or I'm not even saying that right, but you guys understand what I'm saying, has been available in post-Soviet states for more than 40 years as an aid to smoking cessation under the brand name Tablet. I don't know if I want to use communist medicine, Kevin. For the research, scientists compared the results for different stop smoking aids that have been used in over 300 clinical trials involving more than 150,000 people. That's a pretty nice sized chunk for a clinical trial. 300 clinical trials. That's a big, huge pool of data right there. More than 150,000 people. In this regard, the researchers used a statistical technique to combine data from the studies into a single analysis called a component network meta-analysis. This enabled the scientists to compare smoking cessation methods against each other using both direct comparisons within trials and indirect comparisons across trials. This provided a comprehensive view of the relative effectiveness of each method. In terms of the research importance, smoking remains a significant health concern and cause of death worldwide. However, it is very difficult to quit. There are several products available to help with this, but the relative effectiveness of these methods has long been uncertain. The finding indicates that on average, for every 100 people that try to quit, about 14 are likely to succeed using an e-cigarette, Varenicline, or cytisine in any given. 14 are more likely to succeed using these drugs. This is compared to 6 in 100 who are likely to quit without anything. Cytisine is an alkaloid that occurs naturally in several plant genera. In addition, dual nicotine replacement therapy methods such as combining a patch with gum may be almost as effective, with approximately 12 in 100 people likely to successfully quit. However, this estimate is less certain than those for the other smoking aids or just a big ass fucking nicotine patch.
Just like twice the size.
42 milligram.
Yeah.
You can actually order those from China, by the way. I'm just saying. However, simply using one form of NRT, such as the patch alone, leads to about 10 or 9 in 100 people successfully quit. So they're saying 9% using the available patch.
My apologies. I don't know. Hit the wrong button.
That's a new one, because the last number I saw was about 7.
I stayed with 7.
I'm confident in my 7 because I've seen hundreds of studies that get the same result. And we like to use evidence here. This is evidence-based practice.
If I'm wrong, please tell me. I'll change my number.
We need to see at least 100 sources, boys and girls. The research is based on an assessment of those smokers who quit long-term, defined as going at least 6 months without smoking. This is closely followed by using two forms of nicotine replacement therapy at the same time, such as a patch and a gum, or patch and a lozenge, or patch and nasal spray. I don't like nasal sprays.
I wouldn't have done those.
I can't do it. I can't. I could never do cocaine because I just can't. I can't even do eye drops, man.
I don't
Not
care
that
about
you
eye
would
drops.
want to do a nicotine eye drop, but like even just to like use Vicine, I can't. My wife has to like sit on my chest and hold my arms and like do this, and she usually has to squirt like 5 or 6 times to actually get in there.
I did like the Vicks. If you had a cold when you were a kid, them Vicks tube things, those were all right.
I never. No. My mom would just rub it on my. She would hold me down and put it in my nose. Which is probably against the rules. That's probably why I don't like stuff in my nose.
Yeah, probably.
Nicola Lindison, lead author and a senior researcher and lecturer based within Oxford's Nuffield Department of Primary Care Health Services, emphasized the potential impact of the findings in a statement, which they misspelled the word statement, supplied to Digital Journal. Our research dives deep into the world of smoking cessation by pulling together data from hundreds of studies and over 150,000 people. We can see that when people use use the medicines licensed for quitting smoking or nicotine e-cigarettes, they are more likely to quit than if they do not use these aids. I mean, cold turkey. Some people can do that. Some people can do that, but yeah. We also have shown that nicotine e-cigarettes, cytisine, and Varenicline appear to help more people quit than other products used to stop smoking. Nicotine replacement therapy appears to be the most effective, but only when a patch is used alongside another form of nicotine replacement, such as the gum or nasal spray.
No. Soft kitty warm. Now, I'm going to make a point to you fine folks in the audience, and Patrick is unaware of anything I'm going to say. So they just did a general meta-analysis. Is that what it's called? Meta-analysis, young man. They took all this stuff and they put it in one big pile, and then they went dig, and then they went, and there's some stuff there, and then they reported on it. Now we like that, right? Am I wrong? So
there's nothing empirically wrong with meta-analysis if it's done properly.
So on the other hand, get my devil horns out. This is exactly what Glantz has been doing for 45 years or 55 years or whatever. He does the same thing
done properly,
but he doesn't do it the same way. So when you read these things, even if it's good for us, and it is, I agree. We'll get to the giveaway, Ed. Calm down. It's still with caution. You should read these and go, So I've learned not to get as excited as I used to when I see some of these things, which I am excited.
Even the Cochrane, any of the Cochrane reviews are meta-analysis studies, Kevin. The nicotine without smoke by the Royal College of Physicians, that is a meta-analysis. Right. So, I mean, when done properly and all-encompassing. So if they took 150 or 300 studies, is what that thing said, 300 studies that encompassed 150,000 people.
It's probably pretty solid.
Now, if you take, if you take, okay, I'm just going to take this bit of data from this study and this bit of data from that study and this bit of, so if you cherry pick, you can make 150 studies or 300 studies or whatever. Yes. You can make it say anything you want to say, right? Now, if you take all of the data from all 300 studies and you put them into a database together, every bit of it, and you do an analysis of everything, good and bad and otherwise, obviously you're going to have a lot of data that agrees with each other. You're going to have some data that maybe doesn't agree but you still have to, in the final analysis, include all of that information for it to be valid.
Synopsis, right?
Right. So
didn't think I knew that word, did you?
All right, I'm surprised. But so nicotine replacement therapy, Kevin.
Yes.
So FDA posted on Twitter today. This is not in the show notes. This is just a little special quickie. Why is it so hard to quit smoking? Tobacco products are addictive because they contain nicotine, which keeps you using the tobacco product, even if you want to stop. Learn more. Blah blah blah. So our friends, some of our friends, Grim and Phil, and Southern Vapor, and Addie and James and Michael, Addie again, and some moron named Vape in it, and then Addie again, and Addie, and I don't think Addie has a job.
That's the chart. Go back up. Up. 3, 4 of them. The chart right there. See that? Yeah. I argue, Addie, it's who it is. The snooze should be it's not Addie's fault. It's the chart. Carl Phillips said, blah, 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 that's wrong. And I said, well, I think it is wrong. I think the e-cig should be switched with the snooze. Because you're not inhaling snooze.
Somebody just sent me a message here. Somebody just sent me a message. Oh, he says he's retired. That's why he has all the time to be tweeting like 800 times a day.
Yeah, so that's not a shot at that's a shot at the chart.
Anyway, so some moron, since I replied to the moron up here.
Besides me, there's another one?
Well, this guy, Robert Torch, he says, if only there was a non-addictive, very low nicotine product available, both menthol and regular. Oh, look, he tags a company that's value has like halved in the last 6 months. And I said, if only there were a nicotine product that didn't contain all the deadly carcinogens.
Yeah.
Now I bet you $10. But anyway, let's finish this. Nicotine, 22nd century products aren't the answer. They are the problem. They still cause cancer, respiratory disease, and death. Plus, they do it faster as people dependent on the nicotine will smoke twice as much to get to the finish line faster. So, in my experience, Kev, most of the people that are pushing this product are either bots, and you'll see when you see this kind of ratio like this.
I think he's real. He's tried to engage with me a couple of times, but they've never answered none of them have answered my questions.
So most of the time when I scroll through these people's profile on Twitter, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they're full of nothing but this stuff. They're, retweeting 22nd century. They're showing 22nd century. This guy, maybe not so much. He has some actual real tweets on here. But a good amount of the people that I see promoting this product are either, if you look in their thing, they're on market people. Well, he doesn't even have a bio. They're either in Wall Street, they're investors of the company, or they are clearly bots because every tweet on this guy doesn't fall into that category because he has some other issues that he's tweeting about. But by and large, but yeah, I mean, Kevin has the tweet somewhere.
I do.
From them admitting that all of the poisons that are in a cigarette are still included in their lower nicotine cigarettes.
I even asked the former or vice president or whatever he was. I said, so can you show me where the nicotine addiction is? The science behind it. And I'd have to find the screenshots, but he said, well, it's in the treasure trove of the MSA library, and I or not the UFCF, whatever the fuck it is.
The UFC.
Go find it. I said, now wait a minute. If your product is saying that nicotine alone is the only thing that's addictive, and none of the other chemicals all of them are there except that the nicotine being as low as it is, and you can't show that, well, that's awfully strange that you would make a product with just lower nicotine to me. So he brushed me off and sent me away. Right. Everything.
Leah's over in the Rumbles. Leah in the Rumbles. Going back to the eye drops, Leah says that that she accidentally confused her e-liquid with her eye drops, and that's not a good thing. So that's some of that 5% of the harm right there.
Yeah, there you go. It is. I mean, there is possibilities.
Well, I mean, don't be putting that shit in your eyes. All I'm saying. Yeah.
For Michael, I'm going to find my screenshot.
Because. The ammonia in tobacco processing is done to actually weaken the wall of the nicotine cell so that it cracks, so it makes it easier for the blood to absorb. It doesn't actually boost the amount of nicotine. It just makes the nicotine more readily available for the bloodstream so that it enters into the bloodstream quicker. It's kind of like when people that use salt nicotine use benzoic acid to make it cross the blood-brain barrier faster.
Right.
It just speeds the absorption rate.
There are things that they put in there that enhance.
Yeah. It doesn't increase the amount of nicotine, but it does make it more it increases the bioavailability. Let's use a fancy word, Kev.
Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah. So here,
All right.
Kev, are you finding something or what?
I got them. I just got to make them bigger.
Rub it. You need a fluffer.
Victor share screen, by the way, for those of you who don't know.
I'm waiting.
I'm looking. I don't know which one it is. All right, there it is.
Kevin's a boomer.
Oh my god.
That doesn't look bigger.
I know. I don't know if this will do it or not.
Why are you cropping it? Why don't you just click on it? Oh, you didn't find the tweet.
That's me looking. Right. That's me looking at the photo so I can adjust it if I want to. The two things, the 7 or 8 or 9 things, is combustion reduced? Are other ingredients reduced? The answer, no. No, combustion is the same. The ingredients are reduced? No. So the Zurcher guy, I keep hearing it always with tobacco or MAOIs. And he said, when I have the time, he did say MSA. When I have the time, I'll find it. I'm not giving you the whole thing, but you can't show addiction to nicotine without tobacco. And that's what I was asking. And he said, when I have the time, I'll find it. In the meantime, look at the document trove resulting from the MSA. Now, really, you're the guy and you don't know. And I'm just stunned. Yeah. Are we voting for Ed to get the Depends, or are we gonna?
Not yet. We're not ready. We're not there, Kev. We're not there. Your level of annoyedness has not reached the right peak yet. Ed says I'm supposed to be nice to you because you're my elder.
Well, yeah, you should be.
That's the second time somebody told me to be nice to you tonight. But here, let's here's some video.
The March of the Puritans continues unabated because today we get councillors representing teams, and in particular coming from Lambeth Council, where Jim Dixon, Cabinet Minister, is urging the government to change the legislation to ban outdoor smoking. Yes, that's right. They banned indoor smoking in pubs and restaurants. They now want to ban it outdoors as well. I don't think they'll stop until they ban smoking completely, and indeed drinking as well, and turn most of us into criminals. But
so he's got it right there.
Who's
their
next?
goal, Kev?
Who's next?
Control, right? We always say that they want to control us. So now they're just going to make everything that we enjoy illegal. You don't even have to go into the black market. I mean, obviously, if they ban disposables in the UK, there will be a gigantic motherfucking black market
everywhere
for disposable e-cigarettes. There will be twice as many e-cigarettes on the market, disposable e-cigarettes on the market in the UK. As soon as they ban them and make them illegal, people will just buy in bulk from China, and they will be everywhere because
wherever they
I've said it before. China will make and mail you anything that you want to buy. In the bottom of the order, it will say, "We are not responsible for any shipments that are seized." Blah blah blah, because they do. And for every one package that they intercept, 10 more will be delivered to people's homes, and the black market will be gigantic.
Yes.
today's news is that the government is going to ban disposable vapes. Number one, they say they cause a pollution problem if not disposed of correctly. And number two, they're arguing they're aimed at kids. And if you look at some of the flavors, there's cotton candy ice vape. This vape is strawberry ice cream. And this one is orange gummy bear. Well, the argument is...
Does orange gummy bear taste good, Kevin?
I don't eat.
I don't like any. I don't like any candy flavors, to tell you the truth. I see people eating the Jolly Ranchers, and I can't do it. I can't.
I'm the rare, and so are you. I'm not a big candy guy. Never have been, really.
The anti-vaping argument is that these are targeted at youngsters. And yes, about 15% of mid-teenagers do vape in some way. But whether banning things and whether putting all of this into the hands of the criminals is the right thing to do, I'm just not so sure. Now, Francesco Mosconi is Professor of Business Economics at Brunel University, London, and recently published in the British Journal of Healthcare Management an article saying that if adults switch from cigarettes to vaping, it could save the NHS a lot of money. So, Francesco, you're arguing in many ways that vaping can be a positive for society.
Correct, Nigel, correct. In the paper, what I'm saying is that if 10% smokers adopted reduced risk products, and I'm thinking about e-cigarettes, for example, or heat not for burn tobacco, and assuming that there is a 10% risk reductions for developing smoking diseases like lung cancer, oral cancer, and so forth, then the overall population would experience about 3% decrease in hospital admissions, 3% decrease in health expenditure, which means essentially that the saving would be annually more than 100 million of pounds in England.
So 10% reduction in smoking with people converting to a reduced risk product could save them hundreds of billions of pounds, not dollars, pounds, because there's a significant conversion there. That is amazing.
That's
okay. But Nigel, in a more optimistic scenario where the switch of these smokers pass from, goes for 50% to these reduced risk products, then we're going to see a reduction in percentages of 13% of hospital admissions, 30% of health expenditure, which means that the actual saving in England annually will be more than £500 million. of
Well, Francesco, that is powerful as an
£500 million, which is theoretically somewhere around what's over $2 billion. No, $500 million, somewhere in the area of, because it's about like 1.7 conversion. I think last I checked, the pound is way more valuable than $1. The conversion is, at least. That's crazy. So why would these people want to reduce the options for people to actually substitute something that's going to save them? I mean, the Brits, they pay something like 52% income tax or something like that. It's I mean, they get stuff for what they pay in. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not a big fan of socialist systems, but I mean, there is something, you're getting something for that money. Oh, 1.24. So it went down from the last time. So somewhere around $700 million. No, yeah. For the first estimate. The second estimate's even more. So, I mean, you would think Democrats or liberals, in that, because they don't have Democrats, they have liberals over there, would be looking at, oh, well, we can give more money away to stuff if we promote something that will help people not buy cigarettes and buy this other thing and reduce our medical costs. I mean, this is win-win for them, right? We could send more money to the Ukraine, Kevin.
Yeah, so the guy on the right is a number cruncher, obviously.
He's some sort of public health finance guy. Yeah.
So, in layman's terms, if 100 people have the opportunity and the government lets them quit smoking with these things, then they spend, those 100 people spend a lot less money on health care eventually.
Well, the government, over there, there's a socialized healthcare system,
right?
Medicare for the older folks. That's where the vast burden on smoking related diseases is, on the Medicare, because the vast majority of people that suffer from smoking, they reach that 65 number where they can get their Medicare, right? So then the heart disease, the lung problems, the supplemental O2, all of the hospital stays, people that are in the hospital for a broken hip that have a strong heart and a strong lungs, they don't spend as much time in the hospital. So even unassociated health conditions are benefit. Cost savings wise, this is a big deal if people would pay attention to the big long-term picture.
So then those 100 people not only don't go into the system here or there, in whichever scenario you like, and then you've got your friends that will do it. Then there's 150 people, and then their children won't smoke, and then there's 200 more people, and then there's 500 more people, and then there's 5,000 more people, and then it comes. What would we agree on earlier? 10 million so far here. So
bastards over here. So 1 pound is essentially $2 Australian. That's almost a 2-to-1 conversion. So, yeah, I'm not going to play this. It's a 9-minute video, but the link is in the show notes. But it's just the idea that this issue is not just about saving money for you and I and people that are smoking, but it does. There is a lot of government, our tax dollars and Medicare dollars do go into, this as well.
And then again, I'm going to point out the double standard. It's not for children. It's safer for adults.
Right. So, yeah, the whole point of the deal is that, this is not just like our freedom. Like, this is not our, there are other aspects to this fight, this argument, this whatever, obviously the name of that video is that a ban doesn't work because it's going to build a black market. But not only that, but yeah, if you promote these products, fewer people are going to smoke. You're giving them other options to quit. Their health will improve. Healthcare expenditures go down. You're able to help more people because you're not paying for all these other. I mean, this is a generational thing. Obviously, people that were smoking in the 70s and then continue to smoke through the 80s and 90s and maybe even continue to smoke now, they're going to be a burden on the healthcare system later on. But if we get people now before they're 50 to get them to switch after 10 years, we've had scientists on, we've had Charlie on to say it takes about 10 years for your lungs to completely get over it. And the earlier you do it, the better. I mean, I've been smoke free for, since 13 years, Kevin, almost 14 years. But I mean, I still have the risk that I did enough damage in the 35 years that I smoked. Some of that is never going to heal. Some of that is still there. And there may possibly be a risk that 20 years from now, when I'm 70,
my grandmother was 15 years out before
they may diagnose me with lung cancer when I'm 70. And I'll be like, well, you know what? Don't worry about me. I'm 70.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've seen what chemo and radiation does to people, and at 70, I probably won't be able to handle it anyway. So just let me enjoy the last little bit that I have. But we get them earlier before they've done 35 years of damage to their lungs from smoking. Get them into a safer option. They might not get that cancer diagnosis until they're 95, and they're going to, So yeah, I mean, it's going to take time, but the healthcare system is still going to bear the brunt of this for a couple decades, probably. But the earlier we get them, the better. All right, Kev. This one will get you riled up. I'm glad Skip is not here. All I'm going to say. It says vaping may spur chronic stress in young people, study says. Well, I added the word says. So this is a study from, this is actually published in London. I don't know. Young people who use e-cigarettes are more than twice as likely to report chronic stress, finds the study. The research presented in the European Respiratory Cancer International Congress in Milan, Italy, was conducted on 905 people from Canada aged 15 to 30, out of which 115 people used e-cigarettes. So you see those numbers? They studied 905 people, and only 115 of those people used e-cigarettes. But that's enough for them. We just showed a study that had 150,000 people. And this study only has 905. The study indicated that young people who use cigarettes have a poorer quality of life. Stress is known to be to induce oxidative stress and inflammation in the body, which play an important role in the risk of developing chronic conditions such as asthma, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Chronic stress can lead to mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression. But,
I've been stressed in my life. I don't have asthma. Nor do I. Never mind. Keep going.
Are you depressed, Kev? You feel depressed?
I've already got an answer for this, so keep going.
Have you ever wanted to open your wrists, Kevin?
No, yours, not mine.
I've actually never wanted to kill myself. I have actually, on many occasions, wanted to kill other people and had to calm down. But I've never wanted to kill myself. It's important for young people experiencing chronic stress to be given support early on to help avoid resorting to unhealthy coping mechanisms like vaping or smoking. So she says that vaping they're creating a causal argument, but down here she says that people need to learn how to cope before they revert to vaping or smoking.
Exactly.
So this paragraph actually negates the The headline.
No. Yeah, well,
I see that, but they bury it. They bury it. And she's a senior scientist for the Hospital for Sick Children in Canada. Well, I hope the hospital is for sick children and not healthy children, because that would be a waste of a hospital. Vaping is not an effective way to cope with stress, but stress and anxiety can trigger vape cravings and make it hard. Well, I disagree with you there, my lady. I probably would be more upset and unable to cope with stress if I didn't vape or have nicotine. The researchers point out that while their study shows a link between vaping and stress in young people, it does not show whether stress caused an increase in vaping or whether vaping increased experience of stress, or if another factor led to increase in both. I think we've submitted enough evidence on this show over the years that verifies that people that encounter stress and depression seek something to help them relieve those symptoms. And nicotine is one of those things that has been scientifically proven to do that. Not just because I say it, Kev. We've produced science on the show. You just have to go back and look at our nicotine and neurodiversity shows. We've done several. If they gave an award for best vaping material ever, Kevin, the show that Richard and Skip was on would be the one that receives the award. I'm just saying. Yes. If you haven't been around watch the show in the past, go through our YouTube or our Rumble, because it's been uploaded to Rumble as well, and watch that 2-part show. It takes 2 hours to watch both pieces, but I promise you, you will learn a lot and you will understand the topic a lot more.
You might see yourself in those two people.
Yeah.
You might not. But you might.
Maybe not. Yeah. Kevin, Southern Vapor. Who is Southern? Who dis kinder Kevin? Who dis kinder Kevin? That's Southern Vapor. I mean, Addie's put a tweet in there. I can't click on it because
I'm looking.
I can go over here and actually.
Yeah.
I can pull it up over here. Let me...
Who dis?
Are you pointing out? I did submit a photograph to Southern Vapor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
You know, Patrick, I'm curious. Do you think that possibly these kids are more stressed because they're being strip searched, or they're afraid of being strip searched, rather? Tased, beaten, losing human rights, and being ridiculed by adults like the Karens in Vape. Could that be possibly why they're more stressed? No, maybe. Oh, okay.
It could be. It could be. I actually, I did tweet about that today, Kevin. Actually, obviously, our good friend the rat. Not the mouse.
The rodent. Rat. The rat. You mean the rodent? He's not a rat. Oh, now he's going to whip you. Get him, Phil. Get him.
He's got some sort of creature on. It's a rodent of some sort.
Rodent.
We would call them swamp rats where I come from. Yeah, it looks like a nutria a little bit.
He's a beautiful rodent.
He did want me to know that so he tagged me in a tweet sharing a story from Malaysia showing some very serious, what I would call, human rights situation going on in Malaysia. So I did retweet that today. And I tagged, and I did add it to our child abuse bookmark, Kev. So for those of you that are not in the aware, that maybe doesn't know, and I think several of us are doing this, but I'm keeping a running bookmarked thread, and I'm sure there were stories before March 5 of 2019, but this was the earliest one that I could find with a pretty thorough Google And there are, well, we can just go through this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, this poor child. 14. And now we have 15
that we know of.
And these are just the ones that I've got on my radar here.
Right.
Of horrific strip searches, kids getting tased, kids getting tackled onto the pavement and hogtied, spied on, beaten, 2 stories of physical assault, of children. These are children. So
your children.
Maybe not
our children, your children, their children,
these are definitely children that are being assaulted, abused, and
molested.
Violently. Well, molested, yeah. Violently,
there was a tweet.
It's quite scary.
A person quite some time ago, quite a while back. I don't remember the handle. I don't remember. I can picture the avatar or whatever, and he would say that these people are perverts, that they're trying to molest children and they're trying to use the children in that way. And I never really responded to it because I thought, well, I think it's going a little too far to say that. And now I'm really seeing not everything that he said, of course. I think he was a little overzealous with some of it, but wow, right?
Yeah. So I tweeted, they've really upped their moral panic human rights abuses in Malaysia. In America, this kid would have only been strip searched, tackled, tased, and unlawfully detained. The Malaysians have added physical scars to the psychological ones. I blame Mike and the WHO and American misinformation experts like the Tobacco Free Kids, PAVE, Truth Initiative, CDC, for exporting their lies to the rest of the world. How long till a kid here or a kid gets scarred here? Now, obviously, this is not in a language that we understand, but you do know that they have this button right here that will convert the text. So it says a Form 5 student, that's, I think, 5th grade, maybe Form 5, at a secondary school in Penang, claimed to have suffered bleeding in his right eye. Look at that. Look at that in the video right there. As a result of being caned by a teacher today, the victim's father claimed that his son was caned for smoking an electronic cigarette in class. Now, I mean, I can't understand what he's saying here, so we're not going to play the video. But, I mean, just look at this.
Yeah.
Now, there was some talk that maybe the kid moved during the abuse. But I'm sorry, as an adult person, now, if you're swinging a cane so uncontrolled that if a kid turns that you can't pull back before it hits him in the face, then maybe you're not the person that should be around children.
You're not fit to be a person.
Because
is that what you meant?
There's a certain amount of aggressive anger that had to be present. Now,
with or without provocation.
I mean, I got whipped at school a lot. And at no time was I ever in fear that the paddle was going to open my skin.
No, me neither. I didn't like the paddle, but it wasn't going to, yeah.
I mean, that is going to leave long-lasting physical and emotional scars. That kid's going to walk around the rest of his life wearing that scar on his eyelid because there ain't shit they can do about that. They can't fix that. That damage on the eyelid is there. They can They can do some things cosmetically in other places, but that eyelid is always gonna bear that scar. And like, if you're pulling back and swinging to give a kid I don't know what a thrashing, a caning, whatever you're calling it, to get that kind of mark, you have to be putting a lot of aggression into that. That is not I need to correct you and bap. This is that is the type of thing, the force required to leave that kind of mark. If it was any other thing, if it was a knife or a sword or any other sort of implement, would have killed that child, because the canes they use are flexible. They're kind of like, when grandma told you to go get go get me a switch.
Oh yeah, I had to do that one.
They're flexible. Don't bring me a dried one. I want you bring me one that's still green. I mean, that's a whip.
Well,
it has a certain amount of flexibility.
Can you agree with me? And you don't have to. Is it the propaganda marketed properly makes adults this angry at children? Really? Is that how this works?
No, I think, there's some, I would say that some of the moral panic has whipped people up. But this particular thing, you can't put it all on that. I mean, obviously the moral panic is there, but this teacher had a grudge. He was mad about something. He was taking it out on that kid. His wife probably found out his wife was fucking around on him or something that morning. And he was, this amount of aggression and any sort of corrective behavior, that teacher should be in prison.
It didn't teach
I hear the prisons in Malaysia are not very nice. Just saying. And I don't know what they do over there, but over here, you get arrested and put in jail for doing that to a kid. In prison, you're going to be somebody's bitch.
You more than likely.
There ain't nothing. I mean, all those daddies in that prison that can't see their kids are going to take it out on you. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm promoting any sort of, vigilante justice in prison, but, I'm just saying. Because we have done that in the past, actually. I did read a story a while back where a guy killed a child molester and then turned around and killed another child molester because he figured, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. I might as well do the Lord's work while I'm doing it.
Yep. That's what I remember that.
Yeah. We talked about that.
It was a testimony. Yeah.
And the what's it called? What's the guy? The warden had to lock off the guy's prison account because people kept donating money to his prison account. He had too much money in there.
Well,
Yeah. All right. So here, Kevin. Here,
if my kid would have come home like that, I'd have been going to the school the next day.
Oh, no, Kevin. If that was any child that I know, not even my child.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be correct.
There would have been a shh. I'm just saying. Any of my godchildren? Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Because, no. No. Mm-mm. All right, Kevin. Here, let's get off of this topic before my blood pressure goes up. Says here, hey, Doc, do you really want to stop your patients from smoking? This is from September 14th.
What? Really?
Yes. Says, for patients who can't quit smoking, there are several reduced harm alternatives. This is from the Physicians Research Institute. And right here across the top, they have a thing called harm reduction. Right here across the top of the screen.
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
That's here in the United States.
I don't know anything about this website, but I saw the headline and I skimmed it and I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about this. So anyway, it says, for patients who can't quit smoking, there are several reduced harm alternatives. None of these alternative nicotine products are safe. They should not be used except as substitutes by patients who can't quit. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah,
So below is the final report by Dr. Cheryl K. Olson. She's a Master of Public Health, SC.D, whose work was funded by a grant from the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World. We've talked about this on this show, and I don't have a personal beef with them. There are some people that do, but I am not one of them.
We have also covered Dr. Cheryl K. Olson as well.
Yes.
A few times.
Yeah.
In other aspects.
There is a need to get patients to quit combustible cigarettes. This is especially true for long-time smokers at risk of immediate harm. Quit rates for Americans over 65 have been stagnant since the turn of the century. What can I do for patients who can't and won't quit smoking? Physicians around the world report feeling frustrated at this situation. Some patients have tried and failed with cessation medications, nicotine replacement therapies, Varenicline, and bupropion. Others reject patches and pills as substitute for their cigarette habit. So you remember back in the day we had, what was her name? The pharmacist. Anyway, she said that her mother wouldn't quit because she loved her ciggies and didn't like any other method and had to find something that was similar to her quit method, or, and the reason why vaping is so helpful is that it is similar to the habit that you already have.
I know who you mean.
Yeah. Fortunately, there are now other options to consider that can deliver nicotine in much less dangerous ways than cigarettes. You've heard of some. Others may have be completely new to you. These alternative nicotine products are made and regulated outside of familiar medical pathways. Product types is modern oral tobacco, e-cigarettes, and heated tobacco products. So that's snus, nicotine patches, nicotine toothbrushes, or not toothbrushes, toothpicks, all those things that are currently available, e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. Pioneer nicotine addiction researcher Carl Fagerstrom notes that countries with higher uptake of these alternative products have lower smoking rates than neighboring nations. He says such products could be the final nail in the smoking coffin. Are these alternative nicotine products approved by the FDA? These are not FDA-approved quit smoking methods. However, they are regulated by the FDA based on research submitted to FDA Center for Tobacco Products. Some product brands have received marketing authorization, not many. That means they are sold legally. A few have earned the right to be called modified risk tobacco products. Not very many, but some. What is a modified risk tobacco product, Kev?
Oh, that depends on who you ask and what their
Well, I'm
goal
asking you,
is.
what do you think a modified risk tobacco product is?
Well, I don't like the word modified, but the risk is reduced from the standard of smoking is below. They don't really say how much further below, but that's why I don't like the term.
Right.
That's my own opinion. So you're asking. So modified meaning less. I don't know why they don't say less, because they don't want to.
Right.
Risk. Less risk. Not modified. It's less, period, you fucks.
Right. So anyway, this concept comes from Section 911 of the 2009 Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act. That act is the basis for our current U.S. tobacco product regulatory regime. It says a modified risk tobacco product is one sold or distributed for use to reduce harm or the risk of tobacco-related disease. Companies must invest extra time and resources to get MRTP status, along with usual scientific evidence for reduced health risks. Studies of consumer perceptions of real-world product use are required. As part of this process, a company seeks permission to use product-specific reduced harm wording on their labels without MRTP authorization. A nicotine product maker can't say anything on its label, advertising, or other media that would be reasonably expected to result in consumers believing that the tobacco product or its smoke may result in lower risk of disease or be less harmful, or that their product or its smoke vapor has fewer bad things in it. The 2009 Act also prohibits the use the weasel words of light, mild, or low. Yes, Eliana, yes. Kevin. So far,
Mallory's point is very well taken.
Yes, We just talked about that. Just a few tweets when we talked about the tweets. Yeah. So far, only 3 alternative products as well as low nicotine cigarettes have received modified risk tobacco product designations: General Snus, IQOS, and Copenhagen Snuff. So I mentioned I thought that Copenhagen had gotten their thing last week. I've got verification now. So General Snus, Kevin, that's Swedish Match. Mm-hmm. And they have, I think, 3 options available in the United States. Now, they're regular. They have what they call the regular portion. They have the white portion, and one, I think they have a menthol portion right now, or menthol flavor. Those are the only 3 that are currently available. Now, I mentioned earlier that I reached out to my snus enthusiast friends, and General Snus is one of those companies that makes a Scotch whiskey tobacco blend that I will be having on Monday. And obviously they themselves make way more product than what is available in the United States. But Copenhagen Snuff has been around forever and a day. There's no, they didn't change anything. They just submitted information to the FDA that showed that their product doesn't, it is reduced risk compared to cigarettes, which is not difficult, really. So IQOS, their modified risk application was approved on a reduced exposure. They can only claim that their product reduces the exposure to carcinogens. That's their application did not get a full approval. It got a reduced exposure approval. So they can't say anything other than their product doesn't have as many emissions.
But Patrick,
Quay,
when I read Mallory's statement, it kind of dilutes the purpose of having a less harmful product.
So for the people
right?
the people that don't want to look at the chat, it says VLNCs have the MRTP that reduce nothing but the nicotine. So
what does that tell you?
So again, the system is bullshit, because obviously we proved that all of the bad shit is still there. But they claim, Kevin, this is what they claim, that product substitution does not occur.
Mm-hmm.
That's their claim, is that people that smoke lower nicotine cigarettes don't smoke more cigarettes.
And they might smoke less.
That's what they claim. Now, real world examination of the product, I myself have never had one, because I won't. But Richard Pruin, a very good friend of ours, he did have access to them and said he tried one, and they were so innocuous. Like there was no throat hit. They were smooth. That he said he could easily believe people would smoke more, because the experience did not feel like, for people, people won't know that they're smoking more, because they're so smooth. They don't have that throat hit. They don't have those things that, you get one, you get that experience. You don't need another one. People that smoke them, and they're so, like I said, they're so smooth. They're going to light another one right behind it, and another one, and another one,
if the
and another one,
FDA has a
and another
standard, they're skewing the standard, because they're allowing cigarettes.
Kevin, there is nobody that's doing that. No new research is being done on lower nicotine cigarettes, other than the science that is being conducted and paid for by the people that produce them.
That's correct.
So,
and funded by the people that approve them.
I mean, anybody that's doing that has done their science for their PMTAs, FDA is not conducting any research. They're relying on you to provide them the research, right?
Right.
So 22nd Century, they pull out all these studies, but they paid for the studies, Kevin.
And I wish them well. I hope those people make $1 zillion. I don't care.
We've
don't
already
lie.
shown that that's not happening, Kevin.
But don't lie. You can word it any way you want to.
The company's stock went like this, Kev.
Yeah, I check about once a month.
My arm doesn't even. I can't make my arm. I can't make the angle on my like it was virtually. It was virtually like this, straight down. Yeah. They're filing. They're not filing, but they are restructuring their company and they brought in an outside Wall Street expert. Not a science. That's the next step. I mean, if you follow other industries, when companies pull out this restructure and they bring in this outside expert to help reorganize the company, that's step 1 into filing Chapter 11 or Chapter 13.
Well,
just saying.
And I'm going to make a point here for you, and I've probably done it before. I really didn't know what snus was 10 years ago.
I didn't know. I'm not going to lie.
I really didn't. I thought it was anything that had an S at the beginning, other than the obvious. I thought you just put it in your nose, and Grandma used to do that when
that's there
that's
are
all
multiple.
I thought of.
I mean, you think of snuff. You're talking about snuff.
Yeah.
And there's multiple kinds of snuff because actually
chewing tobacco
is
cigarettes.
snuff as
That's
well.
all I knew.
There's the powdered kind of snuff that my grandmother used to use. And then obviously if you look at old movies where they're at the Victorian and the has a little snuff box and they,
Yeah, I did. Ed. Cut it out.
What's really sad though, Kevin, speaking of snuff in Copenhagen, I was perusing the social medias this week, and there's a guy named Tucker Carlson who is kind of a divisive character, right? He has a show on Twitter now. He was fired from his job at Fox News, and some people really like him, some people don't, whatever. But I did see he was on a podcast, not his own podcast. He was on a podcast like two redneck guys, two dummy. I mean, it was just a bros podcast, and he was talking about chewing Copenhagen, and that his daughter's boyfriend, he was introduced. She brought him home for the first time or whatever, and he pulled out a pack, and I don't know what brand it was, but it was nicotine pouches, not snus, but nicotine pouches. And he put one in his mouth, and Carlson said, "What is that?" And he explained that it's a nicotine pouch, blah, blah, blah. He said, "You take me to the store right now."
Really?
And he went and he said, I bought one of every flavor that they had. And he said,
good.
He said, I tried every flavor they had. He said, I just like the spearmint one. And he put one in his mouth while he was there. So
was he a smoker? Carlson?
I'm sure. Well, I'm assuming at some point he was. I mean, I don't know, but he talked about chewing Copenhagen. He said, I used to chew Copenhagen until my future son-in-law.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan. I mean, I don't hate him. I don't like him. I'm sort of indifferent.
Yeah.
Some people really like him. Some people like Russell Brands. I mean, I actually watch Russell Brand just because I think he's a goofball, and I don't watch him religiously, but every once in a while he shows up on my YouTube, and
if he's on,
his delivery is funny. I just watch him because he will say whatever he wants. I like people that'll say whatever they want to say without any concern of pissing people off, whether they are Republican or Democrat or whatever. And Russell Brand, he don't give a shit. He doesn't care.
Nope.
So I do like him on that aspect. Plus, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be on the Rumble.
There you go.
Russell Brand vapes, bastard, or are you talking about Carlson? Because Gutfield, who was also on Fox, he vapes as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, it says, note that the Center for Tobacco Products does not use the usual FDA safe and effective standard. Instead, its reviewers scrutinize whether allowing the sale of a particular product would overall, balancing the risks and benefits of tobacco users to non-users, be a plus for public health. Oh, look, Janine just showed up.
The non-users should be a new
only
point,
2 hours
period.
late. I mean, I'm just,
Janine's knickers were in a bunch earlier, I heard.
Well, she wants to be. Well, she's almost. We're almost to the story, Kevin.
We're going to give away a box of Depends to Ed.
I should be a dick and say we're going to save that for the Rumbles because the people. Oh. I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
I do have stuff selected for that, but yeah.
She said mine.
What do I tell patients who ask about nicotine alternatives? Surveys show that patients are increasingly asking their doctors about these products. Most doctors would say, "Don't do it. They're gonna kill you." You may have run across them yourself at convenience stores or gas stations and seen ads or online video. I have never seen an ad for a vapor product. Not since before the pandemic. The Views guys. No, Views actually had one after Blue. That would only play in the late night on CNN or Fox News. They called it the future of cigarettes or whatever, blah blah blah. But not since before the pandemic. So anyway, making any recommendations in this wild west of proliferating reduced harm options can feel daunting. Below is a roundup of the 3 common nicotine alternatives: smokeless tobacco, electronic cigarettes, and heated tobacco products. What do they look like? How are they used? What do we know about their risk? And what evidence do we have that they might attract patients away from cigarettes? So there's a list of moist, dry snuff, snus, tobacco-free pouches, nicotine gums. See, I said toothpicks a while ago, and everybody thought I was crazy.
No, they've got them.
Ah. So it says, what is moist snuff? What is a snooze?
This is the part where we don't really need to go over, but if you do, that's fine. It's your show. It's good to see somebody's actually showing every bit of it.
Yeah.
And explaining every bit of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is moist snuff. Moist snuff. This is what a snooze looks like. And if you look, the nicotine pouch and the snooze are very similar.
Yeah.
Except this actually has tobacco in it. So it has.
You're familiar with bent
sting-free snooze.
Yeah, you could have asked him about stuff.
Well, I posted it. He didn't respond. So I do know that the regular snus, when you put, generally most of the consensus is that you put it up here in the upper lip area up here, right?
Yeah.
I'm pointing at my face.
Somewhere.
And that there are some people that experience a little stinging at the beginning when they use them. I had a little bit when I used them before, but not much. But Banked, our friend on Twitter, has a company that makes reduced sting snus, and they have a coating on the packaging that reduces some of that. Supposedly, there's a patented product or whatever. So then these are a powdered. This is a powdered delivery of synthetic nicotine in a pouch with flavors. Then they obviously, here's e-cigarettes. There's a whole little slide of that. Then there's heat not burn, MRTP or HTPs. And over the years, now I remember these Neos. They actually had some sort of power system in there. I don't know how they worked. Ed says that Banked promised to send him some years ago, and he's still waiting for them.
Oh, actually, Ed does some. Ed, you do snooze, don't you?
Yeah, he snooze.
Yeah,
in the chat room a while ago. So, yeah, I have about 30 cans of snooze coming on Monday.
The idea of reading that, and why I liked it so much and threw it at you, was that, one, it's doing what public health should do. It's telling you what there are for you for options that you can choose from. Now, they didn't say hypnosis. They didn't say the whatever Alan Carr book. They didn't say bird watching or anything like that, but those things could work too. I don't know. I'm for any of it that works for you, because you are different from you. You're both the same different people.
People are different from each other, Kevin?
We're the same, only different. Yes, that's correct.
I don't believe you. I think everybody's exactly the same, Kevin. I think you're crazy.
And it pisses me off that Ed may not take 2 e-cigarettes and Janine may. That's all. So Janine and Ed should have the exact same information from the public health expert without bias, without opinion. Here's the point.
What?
Here's how it works. And
people have bias? People are biased, Kevin? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. But hey, Kev, so I don't know if you noticed that I did change our slide today.
You did?
I did. I changed the slide.
I didn't know. I don't notice.
Oh yeah. Look at this. Kablam.
Oh yeah, well.
So
that explains the rumbly and that tumbly.
So since we are speaking of the, not yet, but we will be speaking of some grim toilet symptoms today. But I did add right here, featuring the Vape Cats X of the Week. Right there,
I did not see
right
that.
there across the screen. The Vape Cats X of the right there.
That's
Bam.
right. Bam.
Kablam.
97X. Bam. The future of rock and roll.
So Kevin, you provided a submission for the Vape Cats X of the Week.
Did. We still got to get Mike to do that. It's just it's a requirement now. It's not even.
It would be nice, but
I think you should sweet talk him and.
Do you think I'm capable of sweet talking somebody?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Our friends over at Ash, I did target that tweet very, very harshly. Is the DC Department of Health embarking on a disinformation campaign to snuff out tobacco harm reduction?
Snuff out, huh?
Get it? Yeah. The DR for Liberty, Doctor for Liberty, who we've also covered, exposes a bold disinformation campaign against e-cigarettes by DC Health. They will recommend nicotine in patches and gum, yet have a visceral dislike for replacing tobacco smoking with nicotine from e-cigarettes. These fanatics, they forgot the S, will resort to the most far-fetched reasoning to vilify a product or activity they frown upon. So you don't need to go to that article. But if you like, you can, or you could. I could share the screen if you want to, but
it's right
it
there.
don't matter.
Oh, I got to do this though.
You mean their tweet, the original?
Boom. No, that's
good.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So you want to read it?
I could. Pardon me. Is DC Health Department embarking on a disinformation campaign to snuff out tobacco harm reduction? Yes, it is. Jeffrey Singer writes, public health agencies have no problem recommending people replace tobacco smoke with nicotine patches or chewing gum, yet they have seemingly a visceral dislike for, I can't see nothing else.
Oh, you want me to scroll it too, is what you're saying.
Well, I can't. It tried. Replacing tobacco smoking with nicotine e-cigarettes, even the research shows they are more effective than patches or gums. Perhaps it's because the act of vaping too closely resembles the act of smoking. Whatever the reason, it's not evidence-based. Now, their tweet said 1 vape equals 20 cigarettes. You remember a while back, Patrick? Do you? Do you? I said,
I remember.
It's 20, it's 50, it's 150, it's 4 cartons. Nobody, there's not one of them that's correct. None of them. It doesn't matter. One vape equals 20 cigarettes. Don't be one. Hashtag stay safe. Vape free. One pod contains 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine. Now, if that's true, it replaces 20 cigarettes.
Right.
Period. But it's all in the wording. So the people.
But they're only good for one time, though.
Oh.
Oh no, that's not a pod. That's a disposable. That's only good once.
Right. So the people at the DC Department of Health should have read the results of comprehensive research and analysis published by the UK Government Office for Health Improvement and Disparities, released a year ago, which came to the conclusions in the short and medium term. Vaping poses a small fraction of the risk of smoking. It's not risk-free, specifically for people who have never smoked. Evidence is mostly limited to short and medium-term effects, and studies assessing longer-term vaping are necessary, which I agree. More standardized and consistent methodologies in the future studies would improve interpretation of evidence. And then there are biomarkers and all that good stuff. But it's hard to get anybody. Just a little while ago, we had Baltimore. They got ASH, which is an American nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And we had I forget his name on from there, and they're continuing to talk about it. What?
Mm-hmm. I was trying to remember the name of Michael.
Michael,
that guy, the writer.
If they're worried about teens taking up vaping, they should read this study by researchers at Brown and Harvard universities using data from 2009 to 2018. That's quite a span of time. It concluded that the zealots fixate on nicotine in e-cigarettes. It's the addictive component of tobacco smoke. However, it is one of the least harmful components of tobacco smoke. It is a relatively safe stimulant. Even Zeller admitted that publicly. Mm-hmm. Even Zeller said over the counter, it is so safe, it is over the counter. I can't remember the exact thing. So like caffeine, they're given the comparison of caffeine with it. It's a stimulant that improves focus. It increases production of beta endorphins that relieve anxiety. What? Really?
Oh, really?
Huh. So how can they say that it causes anxiety when it relieves anxiety? Huh. Imagine that.
They're
so
liars.
The next paragraph is, I think, they also say helpful in depression, Tourette's, Alzheimer's, and as with caffeine, one can ingest toxic levels of the drug. Of course you can, you could, you might put it down. So the recent studies suggest that nicotine normalizes cognitive deficits called hypofrontality. Now, I've never heard that term in people with schizophrenia. So that one piqued my interest. There is evidence that nicotine improves short-term memory in schizophrenic patients. Nicotine's beneficial effects on schizophrenia, which I did know about, has led to researchers to suspect that people with this disease are self-medicating. And what is wrong with that? I'm going to ask you one more time. What is wrong with that? Nothing.
Nada.
Leave these fucking people alone. So the Surgeon General is an idiot. And to conclude, based on the evidence, nicotine e-cigarettes are an effective tobacco harm reduction tool. It's not modified risk, people. Where's my camera? It's not modified freaking risk. It's less harmful. Where'd it go?
You skipped a whole paragraph, and this is...
Oh, yet they have a seemingly visceral dislike for replacing tobacco smoking with nicotine e-cigarettes. Even the recent research, including this Cochrane study, suggests nicotine e-cigarettes are more effective than patches or gum. Again. But it's because it looks like smoking, so we don't like that. We don't like that. We don't want you to do it. So now I'll go to the Surgeon General as an idiot, because I like to say it twice. Each one so far in the past 10 years. But one of them twice.
Yeah.
Based on evidence that nicotine e-cigarettes are an effective tobacco harm reduction tool, it is not unreasonable to ask if the DC Department of Health's anti-vaping campaign should be classified as disinformation. Now, this is through Cato, through Dr. Singer. Now, I asked Caliph on Twitter if he likes this disinformation, because he was so dead set on saying, I don't like this and I want to stop it right now. And he's not. So misinformation pertains to getting the facts wrong.
Oh, he got spanked on the misinformation. I mean, the Reagan-Udall people, they're like, hey, here's a whole report. Here's a whole report talking about your bullshit.
But it doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah.
The Lung Association, they can say what they want. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's all in a word.
No.
So there you go.
That was
if it any
Vape Cats X of the week.
X tweet. So if at any point either of us are wrong telling you things that we're telling you and you can show us that we're wrong, please show us that we're wrong.
I don't believe that will happen.
So,
I mean, the people in the chat room, when I get a number wrong, they're fucking.
I've been wrong. It's happened. Jim McDonald has corrected me more than once.
Oh, I could correct that guy tons of ways. But anyway.
Yeah.
Some people are just full of themselves.
Oh, yeah, well.
Not me.
It's okay.
But
That's all right. But, how's your belly doing? You all right? Everything okay?
My belly's fine.
Everything come out all right? Are you?
So my tweet of the week, Kevin. I can't believe you didn't.
It's not a tweet. It's an X.
Well, my X of the week, Kevin. This is my submission for
Vape
Cats tweet of the week for X of the week.
Where's Michael?
Yeah. So I can't believe you didn't submit this one. I can't believe that, Kevin. I'm
the filter.
Authorities acknowledge a mental health crisis among young while failing to join the dots to punitive school policies. Writes, I'm a racing mom. That's our friend Skip Murray.
Yep.
Intrusive surveillance, arrests, court appearances, and strip searches have all been responses to student vaping. I can't believe you just totally.
I didn't totally
ignore our very good friend. Our very good friend Skip's wonderfully written piece for Filter. So
it's all right.
Skip,
you can admonish.
Skip writes it. Look at that. Look at that. Our friend right here.
Yep.
Youth suicide prevention and zero tolerance school policies. And then there's a picture of a surveillance cam. This is the Big Brother state right here. A phone call from an old friend saved my life when he asked if I was okay. I told him I was fine. It took him just 3 more words to flip the switch that changed everything. Are you sure? Suddenly, I realized I wasn't okay, and I wanted to die. It feels like death by suicide has been holding my hand for a long time, leading me to an end that is irreversible and hard for anyone to understand. 3 years after that phone call, I still contend with it regularly. Too many adverse childhood experiences have contributed to my poor mental health. My safe harbor from those was my grandfather, who was my hero. I was lost and devastated when smoking took him away from me. All of this helps to explain how 2 causes, mental health and reducing death and disease from smoking, have become central to my life. My dream is to help save other people's lives in these areas. They are causes that constantly intersect. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 24. Youth who struggle in school particularly are facing increased vulnerability. September is Suicide Prevention Month. While middle age and older people are heavily impacted, suicide is the second leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 24 in the United States. Suicide rates for this age group increased by 52% from 2000 to 2021. In the U.S., there are 3,703 suicide attempts by kids in grades 9 through 12 per day. Of youth who die from suicide, 60% were living with depression. Youth who struggle in school particularly are faced with increased vulnerability. In the 2021 Youth Risk Behavior Study, 42% of students reported experiencing persistent sadness or hopelessness, with 22% seriously contemplating suicide. Additionally, 18% formulated suicide plans and 10% attempted suicide. As I look in the mirror and think about these numbers, I see the youthful me staring back. I'm painfully aware that the adults in my life thought that they were doing the right thing to raise a productive member of society, but many of their good intentions were paving stones to hell. My childhood home had a zero tolerance mentality. Discipline was doled out quickly, harshly, and often violently. I was hurt in ways that are hard to heal from. Those numbers could easily have included me. U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy has flagged the mental health crisis among youth. If we seize this moment, step up for our children and for our families in their moment of need, and lead with inclusion, kindness, and respect, we can lay the foundation for a healthier, more resilient, more fulfilled nation, reads the introduction of his 2021 advisory. I agree with his words, but considering my two causes, I cannot help but notice a stark disconnect with another area of national policy to which fear-based misinformation spread by the same Surgeon General's office has contributed. It is deeply concerning that we have an unbalanced focus on stopping kids from vaping at almost any cost while we ignore why they are vaping. The 2021 U.S. National Youth Tobacco Survey shows that 43% of students said that they vape because they felt stressed, anxious, and depressed. Although the 2021 Youth Risk, the YRBS, indicates that past 30-day vaping has seen a 45% decline since 2019 peak. Youth vaping continues to grab headlines and drive policy. It has frequently been portrayed as a cause of depression, despite evidence that it is better understood as a symptom. In reviewing how schools enforce anti-vaping policies and how that affects children, I was left with the impression of many people who may have good intentions, but whose efforts cause great harm. It is deeply concerning that we have an unbalanced focus on stopping kids from vaping at almost any cost. Never mind that nicotine vapes are a far safer substitute for many kids who may otherwise be predisposed to smoke, while we ignore why they may be vaping. Many of our schools have discipline policies rooted in a zero tolerance strategy, akin to the one I was raised with. That approach can inadvertently worsen mental health and foster substance abuse or substance use. Too many schools are focused on punitive measures instead of emphasizing empathy and education, and vaping, together with other drug use, is often treated like a criminal issue. Those zero tolerance policies entail consequences such as suspension and expulsion, and we know that Black and brown students are far more likely than white students to be suspended or expelled. Instances involving on-campus law enforcement have resulted in kids caught vaping being arrested, tased, and beaten. We showed you that. I have a whole thread. She's keeping track of it as well. Involving law enforcement in this way exacerbates negative mental health outcomes and increases student shame, alienation, rejection, and breaking of healthy adult bonds, as the American Psychological Association has noted. Impacted students are more likely to exhibit antisocial behavior, drop out of school, and suffer from depression. These actions contribute to a phenomenon known as school-to-prison pipeline, Students of color and other marginalized youth face higher risks of being ensnared in this pipeline, which pushes them out of the classroom and criminalizes them. With the so-called war on drugs and other factors, this has been a disturbing reality since long before kids started vaping, but vaping has become a new funnel into that pipeline. There are cases of school using the police to ticket and fine students. In some cases, students are required to go to court if they're caught vaping. This means they miss school. Their parents must take a day off work. Fines and loss of work are detrimental to low-income families. Some school districts send unpaid fines to collection agencies, including those for vaping. These actions can lead to wage garnishment and loss of driving privileges. Additional financial strains on those families can affect the mental health of all family members. We must avoid punitive measures that exclude, humiliate, and harm mental health. Some schools, like those in Texas, mandate alternative education programs for students caught vaping. While those actions aim to protect students' physical and mental health, their efficacy remains unproven. Students use various methods to determine if schools use various methods to determine if children are vaping, methods I don't recall hearing about when many youth were smoking, with far more health risks to themselves and others. School staff use security cameras, peer under stall walls, or remove entrance and stall doors to monitor for potential vaping. This amounts to surveillance and denial of privacy with more mental health implications. Reading about several cases of kids being strip searched at school when staff suspect a student has a vape has been heartbreaking. Strip searches are mostly conducted without parental consent and can have long-lasting traumatic effects on children. The American Bar Association notes that they can cause children to experience anxiety, depression, loss of concentration, sleep disturbances, difficulty performing in school, phobic reactions, shame, guilt, and other long-lasting emotional scars. Due to my own traumatic childhood experiences, I find it easy to relate to these kids standing half naked and shivering as they were being searched. I can feel their humiliation. While this will make some people uncomfortable to hear, I know that for some of these kids, it feels like a form of visual rape. The 2023 theme for World Suicide Prevention Day is creating hope through action. Suicide prevention is complex and has many strands, but there are some clear steps we can take. One of them is to reassess zero-tolerance school policies and their enforcement. We must ensure that policies prioritize the well-being of students, avoiding punitive measures that exclude, humiliate, and harm mental health. And Skip is a research fellow at the Consumer Center of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. She started smoking when she was 10 and lives with mental illness. She lives in Minnesota, and she is our very good friend. And you didn't call that your tweet of the week, Kevin? You're muted. You're still muted. Did you unplug your device?
You didn't hear me say, oh, piss. The pride I have in knowing Skip, and no, I didn't do it as tweet of the week. I'd call this the article of the year, though. Is very prideful for this to be read. Very prideful. So
this is why we love her.
Even though the cranky old broad isn't physically in the room, I love the shit out of her. Oh my God. And now I love her more. So yeah, I didn't think that was possible. Yeah. But Patrick, wouldn't it be better just to scare the shit out of these kids and cane them and beat them and tase them and chase them down the fucking hall? And
it is weird.
It's sadistic. It's sadistic.
That obviously we covered the story of the child being caned and scarred for life. The same night we were talking about this article that she also published this week. This is a topic that we've covered. I think we've covered it of the vaping YouTube people, vaping social media people. Nobody has been focused on this topic more than us.
Nobody wants to talk about it, probably.
I mean, nobody has ever done a show other than us that I know of on nicotine and neurodiversity, nicotine and mental health.
No, not that I know of.
This is why we love Skip, because she thinks like we do.
Yes. Yeah.
We put the emphasis on the same things. I mean, a lot of us could do, I could get a flat build cap and tattoos on my neck and say bro a lot and do a podcast like that. And there's nothing wrong with that podcast. But we have fun here. We tell jokes. We make fun. But when we talk about these topics, we are serious there is nothing more serious to me than the treatment of these children. And I am not a dad that I know of. I mean, you got to put your fucking money where your mouth is. And I mean, we focus on this because this is important.
This is part of it. This is all part of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we know Kevin has perfect experience in this area. I've experienced this personally. Skip and Richard have been on this show. They've told you their experiences. We can talk about the medicinal qualities of nicotine all day.
And legislation and stupidity and bullshit and front groups and
these people will never accept, no matter how many statistics I throw at them. We know 60% of all cigarettes that are smoked by the mentally ill.
Yeah.
The neurodiverse, the mentally ill, whatever word you want to use. We know that.
Yep.
They're going to say the cigarettes cause the problem. We're going to tell you that cigarettes, the people are seeking out this experience because it helps them. We had Richard on the show talking about how his doctor approved his reduction in medicines and medicinal pharmaceuticals that affected his consciousness, that affected his thought processes, because the nicotine helped him reduce his symptoms without the use of those pharmaceuticals. I don't need any other testimony.
Clearly, with us knowing that, clearly nobody with any pull or say or the ability to legislate / infiltrate / influence any laws or stupidity that they do cares. Nobody. Not one.
If they had any compassion, any empathy, no, they'd just rather wage a crusade.
Yeah. And I asked you and Fig, you guys invited me to come on for what, 4 years, I think.
A long time ago, Kevin.
What would be my role was part of the questioning. Are you going to shut me up and silence me was a question. And am I free to speak freely was another question. And what kind of contribution can I make? And if this is part of our contribution, like you said, we're the only ones doing it, then fuck everybody else. Yes.
I won't say fuck everybody else, but I will say that we have a place. Yeah. And our friends that come here, they know that we fill a certain role and they enjoy our show. So, yeah. Before we get all like maudlin and, stuff here, Kev.
Maudlin.
Let's see. All the parts of your body that are affected when you vape.
Is this the one?
No, this is not the one.
Is it? No, this is the one.
No, it's not the one. By now, you should know that vaping is not good for you, Kevin.
No.
With it being found that chronic vaping causes the same risk of heart disease as smoking cigarettes, disposable vapes could now be made illegal on the health and environmental grounds as of next week. Now, I have to click on this one.
Not all, just the disposables.
Okay, let's see.
They don't even read their own.
New research has found that chronic vaping causes the same risk of heart disease and smoking disease. Researchers have found blah, blah, blah. Let's see that vaping causes damage to blood vessels, according to National Institute of Health. Let's click on that one. NIH-funded studies show damage to effects of vaping and smoking on blood cells. Oh, look. This is a Glancean douchebag.
It's the same regurgitated bullshit from 5 years ago. Just reworded.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh. Hey, they had 120 people in their study, Kev. 120 people.
Huh.
That's. Oh, you're not seeing what I've clicked out. I've clicked out of that.
I don't see it. I had 7,238 people in my survey. What's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There it is. This is from 2022.
Regurgitated bullshit.
It probably uses, if I click on the study, if I find the fucking study, it's not linked here. You see that, right?
It's Glancean.
It's probably
You've been glanced.
It's citing 2 studies. Yeah. Yeah, Kev.
Vaping causes an increase in stupidity among professionals.
Yeah. So it says here, this is from the UK, obviously, because they're talking about disposable vapes being made illegal.
Hey, that's the guy we watched.
We did watch him a while back. While plenty of studies have shown that using vapes is better than smoking cigarettes, they still contain a number of chemicals and, of course, nicotine, which can impact your health in the long run. Nicotine vaping is substantially less harmful than smoking than the NHS explains, but also one of the most effective tools for quitting smoking. Vaping is not recommended for non-smokers and young people because it is not completely harmless. I've never said it is completely harmless. Lots of research has gone into this topic, as a whopping 4.7 million people in Britain use e-cigarettes as of 2023, which is a big jump from just 700,000. What? So this is an 11-year gap from 2012 to 2023.
It said 10 years.
Yeah. And now one study has revealed how vapes can affect different parts of the body. Texas Department of State and Health Services and Texas Human Health Services has looked at into the extent of the damage vape can cause to people's bodies.
Yeah.
The U.S. service states research suggests that vaping may affect the way cells in the respiratory tract, nose, throat, and lungs react to germs, and may cause the chance of disease and infection from bacteria and viruses, like the virus that causes COVID-19.
Sure.
I'm going to get banned from YouTube just for saying that word. Vaping may also make it harder to recover from infections and increase the possibility of complications. According to the research, vapes emit an aerosol that includes at least 31 chemicals and compounds that affect different parts of the body. But what parts of the body? Well, we all know every time we lock our lips around one of the multicolored bars and puff some pineapple-flavored air, that we're definitely not doing any favors to our lungs. Indeed, Texas Department of State and Health Services explains the flavored chemicals such as diacetyl used to give the vapes their fruity puff can permanently injure. What? Diacetyl does not give any fruity anything. It is a butter replacement. It simulates butter. Breathing in ultrafine vapor particles can cause asthma attacks, wheezing, coughing, and shortness of breath, it adds. Vaping also has an effect on not only your throat, but your eyes and your nose, too. Research notes chemicals known as volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, cause eye, nose, and throat irritation, severe headaches, nausea, and organ damage. Formaldehyde irritates the eyes, nose, throat, and skin and may cause lung and throat cancer over time. And your organs get battered when you inhale the fruit-flavored vapor and nicotine as well, affecting your brain, your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, and your liver. The heavy metals in vapes can build up in the blood and organs and cause damage. The most important organ in the body, the brain, is also impacted when you keep hitting a vape, particularly in your teens. Texas Department of State Health Services states the brain is still developing until about age 25. Using nicotine in adolescence can permanently harm the brain, the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control.
What?
Yes, it's prevented me from acting upon my impulses many times.
Are you talking to me? What? Where am I? What's going on?
See, the dementia's already kicked in over there. He's got nicotine-induced dementia.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit, Kevin. Now, I said it. You watch. You watch. Next week, there's going to be a release of some paper that says that I just created a new thing, nicotine-induced dementia. You watch.
I already predicted that parents that vape and tobacco-free kids are going to have a paper out next week saying that vaping makes your eyes bleed.
Oh,
which
dear
was
God.
a take on. Yeah, I know.
Look at this. You may not have considered how your face may have been affected, but batteries and vapes could end up causing serious burns to your skin if they explode. And the department even warns that there's even been one death recorded as a result of this, too. So maybe it's time to call it quits for good this time.
Oh, reading some of these makes my ass hurt.
You know what else makes your ass hurt?
Vaping, I guess. I don't know.
If you do it wrong, I mean, if you put it
That's
in the
what
wrong
I've heard.
hole.
Oh my God.
Oh dear God.
So scary.
Should I just skip like 5 articles real quick and do the one, Kevin? You think it's time? I think it's time.
I don't know.
We're gonna skip a little bit. We're gonna go straight to the money shot.
The money shot. Here we go. All right.
This is the money shot, Kevin. Let me get the
Are you
fluffer
still
in.
awake?
He's
It's
here.
Kevin
He's here.
from Ohio. Sonia. Wow.
He's here. Sonia's here too.
Yeah.
I didn't even check. I should go over to the Rumble. Leah says that Rumble crashed. No, it didn't. It's still there. Her Rumble might have crashed, but it says there's 12 people watching on Rumble. That's nice. Mm-hmm. See, that's 12 more people that we wouldn't have reached if we didn't add Rumble.
This is the point where we go to the potty and we're wondering what Tigger is looking for, and Tigger is looking.
I got to get to the top of the article, Kevin.
Oh, bother.
There we go. All right. This is the story right here. This is the one that everybody's been waiting on right here, Kevin. This will make you ready to give up vaping like that. I promise.
Oh, I just did. It's crazy amazing.
You just stopped, right?
I
This
just stopped.
says
I'm gonna start
grim toilet symptom. Grim toilet symptom that could be caused by vaping. An estimated 3.2 million people in the UK vape now. There's a Microsoft ad there that's going to piss me off. I don't know how to get rid of it. I really need to get an ad blocker. I really do. But anyway, millions of people in the UK now vape, and while the devices were once thought of as a somewhat healthy way to quit smoking, experts now warn vaping is not safe and can cause irreversible damage. Government ministers are said to be drawing up plans to ban disposable vapes, which are said to be targeted at those under 18. Single-use vapes are sold in bright colors and come in sweet and fruity flavors like pink lemonade, gummy bear, and watermelon. And I don't know what that's a picture of, but anyway. However, the ban will not reach rechargeable cigarettes, as those are known to help smokers quit. So the ones that don't require but the ones, I mean, I gotta recharge it. It can be difficult to know the true extent of damage you can cause by vaping due to the habit being fairly new. However, there is some research to suggest vaping is bad for your heart and lungs, as well as being highly addictive. I'm addicted to oxygen, Kevin. A common phenomenon being cited among dentists is something known as vapor's tongue. Vapor's tongue, whereby people who vape are reporting numbness, a dulled sense of taste, and a dry mouth.
Still ain't got to the punchline yet.
Elsewhere, the NHS reports. I'm reading, Kevin. Elsewhere, the NHS reports common side effects of vaping include coughing or a dry throat, as well as mouth and throat irritation. The artificial sweeteners in e-cigarette liquid can also cause diarrhea and flatulence when consumed in large quantities. On top of this nicotine in the vape can cause fatigue, insomnia, as well as nausea, dizziness, a heart racing, and dry mouth. Boys and girls, the artificial sweeteners in e-cigarette liquid can cause diarrhea and flatulence when consumed in large quantities.
Now you know which kids are doing it then, wouldn't you?
Kevin?
What?
I mean, is this why you're, always farting? Is this why you're always farting?
Well, yeah, because, I think Logan's been doing that too. Yeah. Huh. I better check on that.
I'm just wondering. I mean, is that why you're frequently your, butt cheeks are going?
No, I'm just old.
Flatulence. See, I cannot believe our lovely lady friends in the chat room them ever have flatulence. I'm 100% sure.
All I know is
I guarantee it.
They didn't. I mean, I guess if you go to the bathroom and you're under 18 and you lick the toilet and vape at the same time, you may or may not have some adverse effects. I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope that's not a TikTok challenge. That's all.
I'm just concerned that everybody's I'm seriously worried about these folks because, we don't want anybody having diarrhea and chronic flatulence from their vaping. If they are, I'm wondering if maybe they're inserting their mouthpiece in the wrong place.
I'm wondering if it's actually the alleged health experts that are having it, and they're just trying to misdirect. I don't know.
Well, maybe they're testing it wrong. Maybe they're testing it wrong, Kevin.
Most of them talk out of their ass, so that's my assumption.
Maybe they're inserting the ego battery into the rat's ass.
And then don't
blowing air up there, which would cause chronic flatulence. I'm just saying.
Because, I'd almost hurt listening to that.
Well, you asked for it.
That's fine. We're not giving away the depends, Ed. Go back to sleep. Because it's not true.
Here's a palate cleanser, Kev.
You're gonna try to cheer me up now.
This is a palate cleanser. This will definitely cheer you up. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not.
I doubt it.
Government is reportedly poised to ban. Paul's talking about these single-use vapes.
Yes, this is after a series of calls from councils, leading paediatricians and public waste campaigners to make selling the disposable devices illegal on health and environmental grounds.
Well, the government is concerned that the products are being overwhelmingly pitched at kids, though, who then become addicted or move on to cigarettes, whatever. So should vaping be banned? That's basically what we're saying.
Well, joining us to discuss this morning is Professor Sheriff Sultan from the International Society for Vascular Surgery, who, as you might expect, thinks that vaping should be banned.
And Marina Murphy, who joins us here in the studio from the
nicotine delivery system, or alternative nicotine delivery.
So basically, you would be pro vaping, Marina, and you see banning as not the solution. How can we get round this? Where is the problem, and why do you think vaping is not necessarily a harmful thing?
Why do you think that the tone of this man?
The arrogance.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for this to be like a mugging, like the last week's video. Because that one was definitely a fucking on-air mugging.
Well, e-cigarettes are designed for smokers, so designed to help smokers stop smoking, and it's very important for them to have
the e-cigarette. That
But
they
if
want
they're
to
ending
be
up
available
in
to
the
them.
hands of kids, we've got a problem straight away.
Yes, and they shouldn't end up in the hands of kids because they're not designed for children. They're adult products. They're age-gated, and nobody should be selling them to children. But I don't think the solution to youth access is to take an adult product out of the hands of the adults who want or need to use them.
But they're not safe. I mean, a lot of people think that these are perfectly safe alternatives to cigarettes. But Professor Sheriff Sultan, you're saying that one vape is equivalent to 50 cigarettes?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have...
There's that's Kevin's favorite argument right there. One
Son of
vape
a
is the
bitch.
equivalent to 50
Son
cigarettes.
of a
but don't they understand that that means that there's 50 cigarettes that people will not smoke? I'm waiting for this argument to be made in front of somebody that can think fast enough to interject and say, well, sure, that vape might be the equivalent of 50 cigarettes, but they're going to use that vape in the time that it would take them to smoke 50 cigarettes. So therefore, there are 50 fewer cigarettes being smoked.
You know, what bothers me is that no one else is calling them out hardly at all. Nobody. Have a standard and stick to it.
I'm not going
to like,
I would not sit there. I would not even waste the effort to say, well, that's bullshit. We don't know how many cigarettes that equals. I would just say, look, if that disposable vape replaces 50 cigarettes,
yes,
that means that's the harms of 50 cigarettes have been removed.
That's what the rodent did for me this week earlier. So you got to keep trying. You got to try harder.
I don't understand what the beef is. If they have a vape, if they have a disposable vape that equals the equivalent of a carton of cigarettes, and the battery in that damn thing is good enough to last the equivalent of time that it would take someone to replace a carton of cigarettes, that's a good thing. I don't understand what
That's what I got.
These people are so like moralistically afraid, like the fear campaign. Oh, yes. That single-use products. That's what they make it sound like. Well, it's only good for one puff. Oh, well, that means, oh my God, that means that they're going to get all 50. No.
It's tobacco control math, Patrick. That's what it is.
But somebody, I mean, this redhead could have, I forgot her name.
I know.
This ginger, what is it with all these damn gingers? This person could have responded and said, well, okay, if that's true. If I agree that vape has the equivalent of 50 cigarettes in it, that means that that's 50 cigarettes that obviously the vape is good for more than one puff.
You think?
It lasts days. Now, if you're a 2-pack a smoker person a day, that means that you're going to get 1 day and a quarter of the day because that's 20 cigarettes. If they're saying 30 cigarettes, right? Is that what they said? 30 cigarettes? Okay. So 20 cigarettes is a pack. So if you're a pack and a half smoker, that's 1 day. So if that thing lasts 1 day, that's a whole day of smoking that has been removed from somebody's.
Yeah.
But
they don't like that.
Nobody has ever rebutted them in this way. This is
in a professional.
This is why they need to interview us, Kevin. They need to interview us.
I'm a chucklehead, and I figured this out
years
ago.
I want GB News to contact me, and I will break it down for them.
I've made multiple memes.
Very simplistic. No, I'm going to go on national TV in the UK and make use a moron from Texas, not from Texas, but that lives in Texas.
A Texan, by golly, a Texan.
They're
smarter than you.
I'm sure in the UK they probably have a very low opinion of us Texans because we got all the guns and they don't got any. But yeah, this argument is. I mean, I hope if any of you, Janine, if you ever get interviewed, Raj, if you ever get it, Sonia, any of the people in the chat room, Mallory, if you get into this situation where you're ever able to be on TV and they bring this nonsense up about the 30 pack or 30 cigarettes, then please, you 30, have our 50, permission. 200. You have our permission to steal our response that we've just supplied to you. Please.
But Clive, yes.
Well, but, you know, Clive is so smart that he forgets the simple responses. This is an idiot response that would cause them to go, oh. Well, maybe it would cause them to go, oh.
Vape is equivalent to 50 cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have...
Okay, so 50 cigarettes. That's 2.5 packs. That's a
day. They admit it. They admit they know.
A day and a half or a day and a quarter for a 2-pack a day smoker. For a pack and a half, that's if you're a pack and a half day. I had really seriously considered going to Panama, but now that I have to have surgery next week, I don't know that I won't have any time. I have to have knee surgery next week, so I will be laid up with a ice pack and drugs next week, and all of my vacation time will be gone.
Have 2 or 3 mils in a cartridge. This is equivalent to almost about 60 cigarettes of combustion cigarette. So the whole idea that we're going to say that it's a reduced harm using e-cigarette doesn't make any sense at all. Harm-free have to be, not reduced harm.
Wait, stop.
This is saying that a heart attack is less severe.
Quit jibber jabbering, Kevin. You're going to miss the best quote of the whole thing.
All right.
All right. Wait. You're going to love this. I wrote it back.
Cigarette doesn't make any sense at all. Harm-free have to be reduced harm. As if you're saying that a heart attack is less severe than cancer. We cannot play with words like this. And we have to understand fully that electric cigarette causes combustion of some sort of a liquid that goes in, and it contains formaldehyde. It's 15-fold increase in risk of cancer over 5 years. And moreover than that, the byproducts that some of them we are not aware of, like acetaldehyde, acrolein, and diacetyl, all of them.
So acrolein, boys and girls. Acrolein is an actual gas that does happen with the combustion, the burning of VG at like 900 degrees. It doesn't outgas until it reaches 900 degrees, boys and girls. Now, acrolein is very hazardous when it does form, but your vape does not reach 900 degrees. But so the quote was, heart attack is less is heart attack less harmful than cancer. The quote says a less harmful way in the way a heart attack is less harmful than a stroke. Both are bad, obviously. Now he's arguing that the existence of a substance is toxic levels do not get reached anywhere near. Mallory says most regulated mods shut off at 500 degrees.
This is
just imagine inhaling 500 degree vapor into your mouth. Nobody can tolerate that.
This is where you put in the Glance quote. Scientists are confused about science.
No. If you're gonna quote him,
to confuse the public about science, to confuse scientists about science. What about that? What?
This is exactly who he's talking about, right?
It's a trap. It actually is a trap. It's a trap.
Yeah, fucktard. He's oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. No. So this guy says, admittedly, some of the things that he's mentioning do actually exist. Formaldehyde, it does exist. And formaldehyde is produced in the vapor. And formaldehyde is produced in your fucking normal exhalations, anytime you exhale, there is formaldehyde in your breath. Very low amounts, but it's still there. Your body produces 3 ounces of formaldehyde a day.
I can't get this thing to 500 degrees. I'm trying.
Even, temperature control mods, nobody vapes at 500 degrees. Nobody.
No, I can't. No.
You would have blisters on the inside of your mouth, Kevin. You would have burns on the inside of your mouth, 2nd degree burns.
Second? Yeah. I wouldn't have a tongue.
Your mouth is wet, so some of that would be mitigated.
Yeah, but just bubble.
Problems, including popcorn lung, which is
popcorn lung, Kev.
Oh, I've had that like 6 times, at least. No cards, no sympathy, no nothing. Nobody cares.
Impossible to treat.
Okay, well, the long and the short, Marina, is the professor is saying that vaping is the youth catastrophe of the century. What is going wrong then?
Well, I want to address a few points that the professor has just made. An e-cigarette in this country has 2 mils of 20 milligrams tops nicotine, so that's 40 milligrams tops. A packet of 20 cigarettes can have up to 200 milligrams of nicotine. And the issue with cigarettes is not the nicotine. The nicotine is not causing the problem. It doesn't cause cancer. I mean, you can look at Cancer Research UK's website and it'll tell you that. You don't have to listen to me, but they will tell you it's not the nicotine, it's the toxicants in the smoke that causes all the problems. And e-cigarettes don't burn anything. There's no combustion. And there's no evidence at all that e-cigarettes cause cancer.
What about the environmental consequences as well? All these plastic depositories left all over the place and ending up in the water and things. There must be, even if you accept.
Now, all of that. Now, he's saying that there's environmental toxins that occur when they throw the batteries away.
Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with that. Batteries do degrade and they leach into the soil and bad things happen. Now, are you saying that every battery that you have at home, once the battery life is dead and you throw it out and you replace, the AA battery in your clock or in your flashlight, what are you doing with those batteries?
Mm-hmm.
Most people.
Where do they go?
Do you actually package them into a Ziploc bag and then take them to a battery recycling place? Or do you throw that battery into your garbage, which goes into the landfill?
Yep. That's where they usually do.
So now they're blaming all of the environmental ills caused by every battery that's ever been thrown away.
Every piece of plastic, yeah.
Onto these disposable e-cigarettes. And I will tell you, that's stupid. I don't care who you are, whether anybody hearing the sound of my voice, if you lie to me and tell me that you've never thrown a battery away, you're lying. And these assholes on screen, they know about this too. I can guarantee you that that dude with the purple tie and that very stern looking woman with RBF, they throw batteries away.
Well, yeah.
It's
not in my backyard, Patrick. Not in my backyard.
But you still keep selling them. There must be a different way of marketing or packaging them.
Well, disposable e-cigarettes are actually very recyclable, and we've tested our own e-cigarettes. Our e-cigarette in our company is made from cardboard, and it's very recyclable. I think the issue is that a lot of consumers don't understand that these products are recyclable, and they literally think of them as disposable and just dispose of them and throw them away. So that's one issue. I think consumers aren't necessarily aware of how recyclable these products are, and also the infrastructure isn't there necessarily to facilitate them, to help them to do it easily.
I just think
see, Kevin, that ginger, she used a complex word like facilitate.
Are you trying to encourage me, or are you trying to insult
she
me?
said,
I don't know which.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. My shoulder hurts now. See? Cut it out.
He's a smart ginger.
We want to give a final thought to the professor in all of this. People at home, if they have to make up their minds, just give us the case of, why you're saying this. You don't have any vested interest in these vapes at all. Presumably the ANDS does have a vested interest in that. What's your summary to all of this?
Isabel, you have already nailed the head. So there's conflict of interest, and a lot of publication coming in from guys like myself shows there is huge amount of dangers from vaping, and I've published that extensively. I have patients lost their legs. I have
Patient lost their legs because of vaping?
Hey. Be respectful. He's got an I love me wall right behind him. What are you doing? You're mean.
I'm just wondering why there's a plate on, standing up beside him there, right?
He's got to look at his own reflection on occasion.
That's a weird looking plate. I'm saying.
loss of kidneys. I have patient had clots in the lung because of vaping. So I'm taking.
I want to. Y'all look up Sheriff Sultan on Twitter and tell me if he's got a Twitter, because I want to hear the story of how he's blaming a patient losing their legs,
kidneys
on vape because of vaping. I'm serious.
Because he was probably snorting cocaine off.
Sounds to me like he had probably a very non-compliant diabetic that just so happened to be vaping, or had peripheral artery disease caused by eating too many Big Macs or fish and chips in the UK, super high cholesterol, and just so happened to vape. Or a lifelong smoker that also ate truckloads of fish and chips or bangers and mash.
About real world experience. Now, the conflict of interest coming in that when we assess it, 95% of people who have no conflict of interest have shown harm from vaping. However, 8% of people working for the industry have shown harm. That's a 66-fold increase of bad research and bad medicine. So what I'm saying in here that.
So he's just making numbers up now. 66-fold. If you did the right math on the numbers that he just quoted, none of those numbers would add up. I promise you.
Vaping is dangerous. They're affecting the currency of our future with STIOS. It have to be banned. Look what Australia have done. You are not allowed to get vaping except by a doctor prescription. Look at what New Zealand have done. They have banned anybody post 2001 born, not allowed to buy any smoking, whatever it is. So the complacency of the government trying to say, oh, it's recirculation of it and the green part.
Okay, Professor.
This guy just he's rabid. I promise you, if you gave him a cane and had that ginger in the same room, he would try to leave marks on her face like that Malaysian story that we talked about a while ago. Like, he is angry, like his tone of voice, his delivery, he's pissed. So he probably caught his grandkid vaping, or his boyfriend, one of the two. And I'm just being mean now. That's not nice.
He's got an I love me wall. It's very disrespectful.
So we had a different professor in the UK just give a story earlier in the show about the awesome benefit to the public health finances in the UK if people would adopt a 95% less harmful substitute for cigarettes. And now this guy, different university, different. Yeah, I want to. Here I'm gonna go to the X's real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna go to the X's. Let's see. Sheriff Sultan. Let me see if I can find the right Sheriff Sultan, because there's a bunch of them. That must be a very common. Maybe I'll sit Professor. Maybe. Let me see. No, that's not the right guy. He's from a different country. That guy looks way too young. This guy doesn't have a profile picture. That guy's got hell yeah, and that can't be him. Yeah. This guy's got his account locked. Can't be that guy. Oh, there's a lot of Islamic, like, there's some aggressive Islamic people in here. That guy looks way too young. Yeah, that can't be the guy. That guy's a professional web designer. Oh, yeah. I suggest you don't look up that name because there's a lot of ugliness here. Some of this is pretty violent looking stuff. I don't like that. Because I just want to invite him to show me the guy, the medical, he can block out the names of like the patient. I just want to see the medical history of a patient that, well, I can't find. I mean, I'm scrolling here and I don't, like I said, don't go looking for this because vascular surgeon in Ireland is what our wonderful Janine said. But yeah, this is if you look up Sharif Sultan, you're going to get a lot of tweets from like Islamic. Some of these people are very aggressively militant, bad people. And I am not suggesting that all followers of Islam are, but some of these people are quite bad.
What I like is when they ask the female the question and she answered the question, they went straight into something else. They didn't respond. They didn't care. They don't give
and there was no rebuttal. They didn't let him, like, they didn't invite him to rebut like her statements because they know that there's no veracity or truthfulness to anything. Yeah. Oh, here. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Kevin. Give me a second.
Stop it.
I'm pushing buttons, Kevin. And they're not all your buttons either.
You've done pretty well tonight.
I'm pretty good at. I know how to push your buttons.
Yeah.
I definitely know how. I know exactly what type of content to get your your dander up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Here, let's see. Let's do this one. Oh yeah. All right. Here we go, Kevin. Yeah.
Scientists are confused about science.
Nearly half of Canadian young adults say they have tried at least once in their lifetime. That's according to new numbers from Statistics Canada, which also showed 30% of 15 to 19-year-olds reporting the same. These numbers have some organizations concerned.
E-cigarettes are highly addictive. They're harmful. We don't even know yet the full long-term harms. And kids are...
We don't know, Kevin.
We don't know, but kids.
We don't know.
Kids.
No, we don't know.
Full long-term harm. And kids are getting addicted in shockingly high numbers.
Rob Cunningham with the Canadian Cancer Society says...
Now, let me tell you, boys and girls, he's got his parka on. He's standing outside. He's not hurting anybody. Like he's standing on a corner there with there's a sign here. He's chilling. He's outside in the air. He's in the air. When Janine says, "Oh God, not Cunningham!" Exclamation.
As a proposed regulation by the federal government in 2021 would ban most flavors nationwide and could also help tackle internet and interprovincial sales. He says he wants Ottawa to move ahead and pass the regulation. As of September, 6.
Now Janine, she's one of those Canucks, right? She lives up there in the Canadians somewhere in like the Vancouver, British Columbia area. I think she's a West Coaster. Interprovincial sales. So if you live in Alberta, you wouldn't be able to sell product to Quebec or Alberta to British Columbia. So like our friends at Dash Vapes, because they're a Canadian company, they're up there. They couldn't send stuff across the border into. Am I wrong in thinking that provinces are kind of like states?
Probably right. Yep, correct.
So, well, yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, am I, Janine, can you, not wrong. Okay. So I'm not wrong. Provinces are like states.
He really likes knowing he's not wrong.
When it comes to Canada's one of those weird places, dude. I really,
They've got beautiful people though.
If I had to live in Canada, it would be, I visited Toronto. I felt the vibe of Toronto. Toronto's okay. I've never been to Calgary, but I want to go because they have this thing called the Calgary Stampede. It's like rodeo stuff. I'd like to go there. I mean, I don't want to go in the wintertime though, but that's when they have the Stampede. So I guess I would have to just, bundle up,
Not me. Nope.
But then there'd be the fear if you did fly up and it was like you'd never get home because the planes would not be flying, right? I want to go to Tuk, Canada. That's like the northernmost point before you hit Antarctica.
No, I have no reason to be there. I have no business.
There was Metallica did a concert there like 20 years ago in Tuk.
Yeah.
Like people had to fly in and then snowmobile like for 100 miles or something just to get there for this show. Yeah.
No fucking way. If it was free, there would be no way. No.
Well, you're afraid of flying, Kevin.
Well, I ain't gonna fly, and I don't like snow. I don't like cold. Fuck all that.
Well, you live in Ohio.
I know.
If you were truly afraid of cold, you'd get your ass to Texas.
It's cold enough here, but now I have my grandson. Can't go in.
Didn't you have like 115-degree weather in Texas in the summertime?
We had that. We had it at 100 here.
Yes, I meant our Arctic. The Antarctica is on the bottom.
I ain't going nowhere near that.
Provinces and territories have banned most flavored products. But Daryl Tempest with the Canadian Vaping Association is a large number of adults vaping to quit cigarette smoking. And that same amount often use flavored vape products, meaning banning most flavors.
Now, Kevin, not to be ugly here, but I just don't get this whole like ring in the nose and the lip piercing thing. I don't get it.
I don't either.
I would think that because obviously there's a connector on the inside of your mouth, especially for this lip one, that it would be banging against your teeth all the time. That would drive me crazy. Just
it would hurt. That's all I know. I know. No.
Yeah,
not doing it.
Well, no. Sonia said it was 87 in Dallas today. Well, yeah, but 2 weeks ago it was 115. I mean, here in Corpus Christi it was at least, and my AC, my power bill last month, my wife got the electric bill. It was $500 for the electric bill because the AC never turned off. It was like 95 degrees at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So thank God for the AC.
Flavors could do more harm than good.
Flavors were taking a far less harmful product by at least 95% and making it more palatable.
Sarah Bunsen, Canadian Lung Association, says one of the big concerns with youth vaping is nicotine in products.
There are concerns there about long-term addiction.
It's the nicotine, Kevin. It's not the tars. It's not any of the other stuff. It's the nicotine.
It's the advertising. It's the flavors. It's the nicotine. It's the that.
Let's not talk about all the other horrible shit that's in the cigarette. Let's just focus on the nicotine in an e-cigarette. Yeah, that's the one.
No, the cigarettes are safe. You can do those.
Yeah.
Addiction to nicotine and the potential to then, transition to other products.
Both Butson and Cunningham.
Transition from what, e-cigarettes to snus to,
Methamphetamines,
tobacco.
probably. Imagine.
Oh, could be that they think that some teenager's going to go from vaping watermelon, peach watermelon to mainlining heroin on the street.
It's possible.
Say regulations such as taxes have shown effectiveness in seeing youth smoking rates drop. The same could be done for youth vaping.
We've had dramatic increases in taxes and prices, and young people are very responsive to higher prices to quit smoking.
That look. All right, I don't care what the words that are coming out of his mouth, Kevin. I'm gonna go back to when he first started on the screen. Right there. Okay. Now watch his face. Focus on his eyes. I mean, listen to him, obviously, but this guy doesn't blink. Watch.
We've had dramatic increases in taxes and prices, and young people are very responsive to higher prices to quit smoking.
Sean Preble.
It was just that he was. It was just that he was like this.
Ding 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 ding.
While he was talking, he was just like this. But his eyes were like. Maybe he has
one of my
some sort
memories.
Of bulgy eye disease. I shouldn't.
Probably. One of my memories yesterday was of Ray asking me to call him. Just so you know.
Yeah. Ray was a good friend.
Speaking of Canada,
I mean, a good acquaintance. I shouldn't say, but yeah. Well,
yeah.
nice.
Cranky old
He was
man.
a nice guy.
I called him a cranky old man. He loved that.
Would you like it when I call you a cranky old man?
You already do.
I've never used the word cranky. I do call you old all the time, but
well, yeah. Hey, Janine, listen, I also gave Pave some heads up that if they're going to give their little children their little tax write-offs an allowance increase because taxes in every state are going to go up on these things, they need to
cost
have
of living
children,
increase, man.
They need that so they can continue to afford their vapes.
The cost of living increase there. Okay, I'm sure this one will not piss you off. I'm almost positive. Here, let's go with this one here.
All right.
They're marketed as safer than a cigarette, but new research reveals the dangers of vaping don't vanish in a puff of smoke.
It's actually full of small liquid droplets. They seem to disappear in the air. They actually did not.
Coating clothes and surfaces in a layer of chemical residue that can remain toxic for months. It leads to third-hand vaping.
Are they saying that people don't wash their clothes? I mean,
what?
I mean, here. I mean, I'm going to scroll back here. I'm scrolling here. Let's go. Listen to her again here.
They actually did not.
Coating clothes and surfaces in a layer of chemical residue that can remain toxic for a month.
Now, let me tell you, moms and dads, and even the teenagers, because you're capable of using a washing machine, wash your fucking clothes with soap. Just saying.
Don't eat the Tide Pod.
Third-hand vaping, and it can have lifelong effects.
Third fucking hand.
Did you use the word, Kevin? Did you?
The third hand part's going to be smacking somebody in the mouth.
And it can have
right. Here.
Go on.
Lifelong effects.
This is clearly a public health menace.
A Institute examined different groups of weeks, finding it without nicotine caused changes to the lungs consistent with asthma and emphysema.
This is especially important when it comes to children.
When people vape, and then they conscious about don't vape.
They vape.
Are we vaping?
You hear that? I mean, I hate to make fun of the way. I hate to make fun of the way people talk, but
when it comes to children.
When people vape.
I have not vaped anybody. I promise. I won't speak for Kevin, but I'm just,
This is just not, it's not even an intelligent conversation that they're having.
Go on.
This is
Third
better
hand
than
vape,
the other
Kevin. Come on.
three.
Come on. Third hand vaping.
It's like 8.
And then they conscious about don't vape in front of their kid, but afterwards they
Do not vape in front of your kids, please.
No.
can't wait to hug them.
Of the estimated 3.5 million Australians aged 14 and older who do smoke, almost half are choosing cigarettes. But there has been a significant spike in the number of
What?
young people vaping, particularly those under
Good.
25.
Now, if you're 21, 22, 23, or 24, you're an adult person and you can make choices. I don't know why they keep focusing on 25. Other than the numbers don't, the numbers aren't high enough if they don't include those. So they have to include
Statistically
those because
insignificant.
Their brains are not fully developed, Kevin.
No. Their numbers are statistically insignificant. That's why.
Let's keep going.
The vape industry has been undertaking a con with regards to it somehow being safer.
With authorities now eyeing a crackdown.
To shut down the import of all vapes unless they comply with very clear prescriptions.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
There it is. There it is. Prescriptions.
I thought for sure that was gonna calm you down, Kevin.
I have the it's the
I must
14th
apologize.
hand. The 14th hand vaping is out of control. It's silly.
Okay.
You know, I had a moment or two in my time on Twitter over the years, now X, evidently, that I said, if you took a rag and you went to the most popular Italian restaurant and you wiped their walls next to where they make the sauce, how much nicotine are you going to squeeze out of that fucking rag? Second-hand ass. That's what most of the
third hand. I mean, sure, if I do, tons of stuff, that leaves some. I mean, my wife's hair sticks to me. That stays on my clothes. If I sweat, that stays on my clothes.
Yes. Flour, sugar.
Now, if I wash my clothes, those things disappear. And
They
since
do?
since that thing that happened that I can't say on YouTube because I'll lose my channel just for saying the words,
the Houdini thing
happened. Most detergents now
are
specifically antimicrobial. Like they changed the formulas so that
Really?
they could knock that stuff down. Yeah, I mean a lot of them
Wow.
is antibacterial now, right?
Wow. All right.
So that's the thing.
I can't.
So we have 2 more pieces, but so that we can fulfill our obligation to the Rumbles, Kev.
And
we're going to save those
who's over
until
there?
we go.
2 of them.
Shadiv is over there, but it says there's 20 people watching, but they're not chatting. According
20,
to the,
damn.
it says that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but
well, hello, Rumbles.
Hello, people at Rumble. We're all going to come over there.
We're already there.
Well,
We're
I'm
only
already there. But so to all the people on all the other outlets, I invite you. Now, I fucked up when I set this show up tonight. I forgot to replace the show name on the Rumbles. So look for the one that says X marks the spot, which was last week.
Ooh.
So I have to rename the show after we're done on the Rumbles because that's not right.
You were busy wiping and all
I
that shit.
I was in a hurry and I forgot to rename it because I have to when I create the show in StreamYard, I can set the shows up in advance on 4 of the outlets. I cannot add Rumble until right when we go live.
Right.
I can't add it to the StreamYard. So
But you got Sonia's got a angry face. You got Janine all jacked up, and Ed's still worrying about his toe because he dropped his vape while he was putting his Depends on.
I would
We've caused a little
actually-
trouble.
I would pay money I would pay money to see Janine angry. I want to see Janine angry.
Her panties were in a bunch earlier. I don't know. Yesterday,
I
maybe. I don't know.
I want to see what that looks like. I really
Something
do.
about her and Charlie. I don't know. I just like the tweet and kept moving.
Oh no, I can imagine Charlie getting mad. I could see him getting his dander up. But Janine, I just
look,
she's
see,
so
then you get her
bubbly and
mad.
She says that she gets mad, but I still don't believe anybody but her would be able to detect it because she's so pleasant and bubbly and smiley. I don't believe it happens.
And Janine, I would take you up on your offer to tour me around the Canadian Jughead areas, but I don't know if my parole officer would approve. I don't know. It's
or your wife. She's not a traveler.
No, she's not fond of that. That's all right.
All right.
We did go to Niagara Falls.
Well, that is just a little bit of Canada.
Just touched it and walked back in.
So Kevin's gonna go get a minute to go pee and get a coffee or whatever.
Yeah. Well, goodness gracious!
That happened. I could have. If I could
vaping
held it for
causes that.
a few more seconds, it wouldn't have been live on the air.
That.
But we're gonna play a short little video thingy. You know, I'm not even gonna play the outro, Kevin. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play that wonderful video that we played last week instead as our ending the show over here video. Let me load it up real quick. Let's listen to Dr. Brad Rodew.
Yes.
And we'll see everybody over in the Rumbles. Start now. Ready, set, go.
Go.
Hi, I'm Brent Stafford, and welcome to another edition of RegWatch on GFN.TV. We're here in Warsaw, Poland for the Global Forum on Nicotine, GFN 22, and joining us in person is Dr. Brad Rodew. Brad, thanks for coming back on the show.
It's great to be back with you.
So tell us, for viewers who don't know where you're from and what you do, fill us in.
Well, I'm a professor of medicine at the University of Louisville in Kentucky. I also hold an endowed chair in tobacco harm reduction research at the Cancer Center there. I've been conducting tobacco research and advocating for safer cigarette substitutes since 1994. That's 28 years.
How much of that time have you been on the outside?
Oh, for quite a bit of it. It's been a struggle to get this information across to smokers so that they can make choices that will impact their lives and their health.
So what was it then, I guess, was it from your medical experience that you witnessed some of the, ravaging that smoking does on the body?
That's right.